Feels weird to be saying this, ladies and gentlemen, but we're up to our fourth of six broadcasts in this 8th week of term 1 of 2026 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Yep, broadcast number 4 already, and there's still another 2 to go. It's a marathon week. It doesn't help when you've got to play catch-up for 2 Week 7 events and then come back and do some Week 8 stuff tomorrow as well. Welcome to the first of 2 back-to-back afternoon broadcasts for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. This is our coverage of Disruptive Labs GT4 from Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Round 7 action in this series, a 40-minute race. And then, of course, we'll head to the Adelaide Parkland Street Circuit and to the Porsche Cup, to the latest round of that championship, round 7, and another sprint round there. We'll have action from the open and the amateur splits for you this afternoon. And then we're back tomorrow to do it all again, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in this very similar time slot, around about this time, 1:30, 2:30 Eastern Daylight Time, to go around with Week 8 replay action, which, of course, is coming up tonight for those of you contesting it. Zach Cabe and Adam Lavis with you. We've had a lot of one another's company this week on the back of obviously doing the double on Monday and Adam substituting for Dan Yeaman last night. But this is the lay of the land. I don't really need to explain that piece of real estate to you, ladies and gentlemen. You know it, you love it. It is synonymous with some of the best moments in Australian and world motorsport. It's 6,213 metres in length. It is steeped in history and tradition and revered right around the world. It's known for, of course, its famous vantage points. It's known for its famous corner names, not so much corner numbers, unlike a lot of the other circuits that we visit. This is a situation of play in Disruptive Labs GT4 coming into this round. Of course, we're past the midway point of the season now. This is round 7. Drop rounds come into the equation after this round, and have a look at how tight it is at the top of the leaderboard, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Wood enjoying a slender 4-point advantage at the moment over Jordan Malcolm. 270 plays, 265, 259 for Adam Lavis. Top 3 covered by 11 points. When you go back to Stephen Lawrence on 238 and Craig Bond on 214. Ryan Jones just outside. Shane Beaumont, Dale Sharp, Justin Cahir and Eduardo Zamora make up the top 10. No Craig Bond on the grid tonight, but we're looking forward to how it's going to play out all the same. As you can see there, only 4 manufacturers in the top 10 at the moment. There are 5 different manufacturers on the grid tonight. No McLaren, but there is Aston Martin present in the form of Brian Levitt and Luca Troyan. Numbers a little bit low for my liking, Adam Lavis. I wouldn't have expected the numbers to be this low at Mount Panorama, considering it's one of those tracks that we know and love.
It's one of those tracks very fond of, and it should be good to see how they go. Plenty of cars usually around here, but not the biggest field, but still pretty quality field. So should be some good racing.
Indeed, it should be. Let's have a look at the grid now as they line up behind the safety car.
That's what I'm trying to get going
on Conrod Straight, and we'll get this one going for you as soon as we possibly can, ladies and gentlemen. Just bear with us. It is an as live replay for you, so Adam's using the replay files to fire up the broadcast this afternoon. There are the quality results for you. 5 thousandths of a second covering Paul Wood and Stephen Lawrence. That was the difference between first and second in the qualifying session. Then Ash Dodson, Adam Lavis on the second row of the grid. His Aussie Racers teammate Dale Sharp on the third row of the grid, alongside the bloke that had an absolute belter of a night out last night, Ryan Jones. Andrew Franklin and Brett Bradbury from row 4, Bobby Camo and Eduardo Zamora from 5, Brian Levitt, Michael Adams from 6, and then you go back to Robert Colbreth, Mark Register, Luca Troyan, and Joe Trucker Baldwin, who didn't post a time, nor did John O'Harris, nor did Will Ramsden, and I can tell you that the latter two did not start. Trucker's out there in the Mustang. Paul Wood is out there in the lead of the race. He'll bring the field to green very shortly. He's in a Merc. Stephen Lawrence in a Porsche. And as you can see, we've finally got pictures coming in from Mount Panorama. Dale Sharp in a BMW. Let's wait for the start, and here we go. Round 7 of Disruptive Labs GT4 is underway on the mountain. What a way to get the afternoon going. Great start down there on the inside by Ash Dodson. Gets by Adam Lavis on the run to hell corner. So the top four remain exactly where they started. There comes Ryan Jones in the yellow submarine, making a run up the outside, trying to go into position number 4, not able to do so just yet. Dale Sharp, Rep Bradbury, Andrew Franklin follow him through. Across the crest we go. Good clean start, all and sundry. Bobby Camo's got to the top spot. Right over the whoa, trouble! Goodbye! That was Eduardo Zamora, crunched up and on the tow. To the top we go. I don't know what it is at the moment, Adam, but you seem to be spending a lot of time in the company of Ryan Jones in the absence of Sam Chapman.
Yeah, those pesky Porsches, so you try and moves at weird places.
What the hell? You don't pass at Skyline, you just don't do it. And that's why Jonesy off the road will pick up a slowdown, surely, on the run down to Forest Elbow. That'll make him vulnerable to Dale Sharp. That's really well done by Adam Lavis to fend off Jonesy, keep him at bay. Gave him all the racing room in the world. I was a little bit worried, actually, that you were going to sacrifice yourself when you rose up onto the curb there. Watch the move down at Caltech Chase. Watch Ryan Jones. Try to get back by Dale Sharp. Jones has observed that slowdown. A little bit of catch-up work to do now. A Merc, a Porsche, a Ford, 1, 2 and 3. You've got a BMW in the top 6 as well. And Brian Levitt just outside of the top 10 in the Aston. Wide goes Robert Colbert. It's great to see him back on the grid over there in South Korea. It's important to note. And that's the point, isn't it? Have a look at the international flavour of this grid. You've got plenty of Aussies, of course. Naturally, we are an Australian-based club. But you've got the Italian, Luca Troian. You've got the South Korean-based Robert Colbreth. You've got the Chilean and Eduardo Zamora. And off goes Luca Troian on the run into Murray's corner. Strange place to be going off, actually. We'll see that on replay a little bit later on. In the meantime, it's Dale Sharp under pressure from Ryan Jones still. And again, that just further illustrates what we've been saying all along about this place as Jonesy now wedges his way down on the inside through Griffin's Bend. Sharp, if he can hold the gap and hold the line, might be on the inside by the time we get to the cutting, but I think he'll back out of this much more good. Yes, he does. Jonesy cuts across to take the 5th position away. Next target, Adam Lavis, who has used this I don't know what's going on. The 4.9, that 4.9, that has to be Trucker, doesn't it? Is that a new handle name for Trucker? Anyway, we'll come back to that a little bit later on. I agree, it sucks that everybody's at work on a Thursday, including me, quite frankly, but great to have you tuning in nonetheless on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We are trying to work, I know, by way of relay with Adam Lavis, that my microphone's been a little bit temperamental in recent days, and I'm not sure what's causing it, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same Logitech headset that I used right throughout last year. It's just being a little bit temperamental at the moment. We're going to do some troubleshooting both sides. Going to get somebody online who knows a bit more about the ins and outs of making the two talk, by which I mean the settings within the Logitech headset itself, the Logitech software, but then there's also, of course, a setting that we can fix within Discord possibly as well. So we'll do a little bit of tinkering and try and sort that one out. I'm not trying deliberately to be quiet, just quietly. That's not my way. In fact, if anything, it's dangling the carrot if anyone's telling me I'm too quiet. That's like challenge accepted. Let's ramp up the volume a little bit. I was just saying there before we got sidetracked. You did well, actually. You put about a second and a half between yourself and Jonesy, but he's slowly revved that in. And the fact that he took so long to get by Dale Sharp illustrates what we already well know about this place, Adam, in the sense that it's not the easiest beast to go overtaking on. Conrod Straight, sure. Murray's Corner, Hell Corner, sure. And then here at Griffin's Bend. And everywhere else beyond that's a real risk.
It can be, yeah. It's one of those tricky places that you really plan your moves a little bit ahead and set them up, and really make sure you maximise those exits and those prime spots to get that opportunity of the move done at the end of that straight or shoot.
Biggest mover so far, I just mentioned him, is Joe Baldwin, up 5 spots. He's a lot of plus and -1 at the moment. Michael Adams +3. Bobby Camo an early retirement. And Bobby's just dropped out of the server. I'm not sure what's happened there, but 1.39 laps in. So somewhere around the cutting towards Skyline, somewhere in that vicinity of the racetrack, where these boys are transiting now. Probably you're looking more at Filman and Reed car, somewhere around there. It's where Bobby Camo has exited stage left. I missed that, Jonesy. Thank you. He's thrown you straight under the bus there, hasn't he? Adam has our good mate Ryan Jones. If Adam hadn't offensed himself, I wouldn't have tried the Skyline pass. I love it. Only a little incentive required. Fantastic. Down Conrod. Paul Woods at second at the moment. Stephen Lawrence has been one of the form front runners in this series in recent weeks, of course. Had a cracking run, I think it was Portland, Oregon, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, did the double in Portland and, of course, backed it up with a third last week at the Algarve. And he's also scored a third, a fourth and a fifth earlier in the season, a third at Long Beach in race 1, a fourth and a fifth in the 2 races in Miami as well. So he's been a top 5 runner. He sits 4th in the championship. He heads the field in the Porsche. Seems to be the car to have on a Monday and Thursday night at the moment. Around the mountain once more. 2:13.61, fastest lap of the race. I'm trying to crunch the numbers here, Adam Lavis, and I don't see any way how we get anything beyond 18 laps in this race tonight, or this afternoon as we broadcast it to our audience around Australia or indeed the world, because when you're rounding it up, 2:15 or 2:13 as it is now from Lawrence. Lavis under pressure here from Jones, for those of you watching at home. How good's the yellow submarine going? Yeah, Jonesy, we see you. I don't think you need to be that aggressive on the headlights, champ. Have a look at it. I had to the other day on the way home. I had some idiot doing 70 in an 80 zone, and I had to remind them that it was an 80 zone. And then I also followed an idiot up the Hume Highway, up the M1 expressway towards Newcastle, who exited off the highway onto Freeman's Drive as you start to head towards the Hunter Valley regions. And the idiot had his headlight, like his blinker light. At least his blinker works, unlike some. But I think he needs some blinker fluid because he had the blinker on for a good 15 minutes. And I'm trying to flash him, put the hazard lights on, anything to say, hey, idiot, your blinkers are on. That's a big one for Robert Culbert. That was a wild ride for him before we even picked it up. But that's a massive shunt for Culbert at the top of the mountain through Skyline. He'll be limping to the pit lane getting a fast repair. But yeah, it took this idiot 10 minutes, I reckon. An easy 10 minutes, if someone tries to call me whilst I'm on air. It easily takes 10 minutes to realise that his blinkers are on and wonders why we're trying to get his attention. Oh dear. You can lead the duck to water, you can't teach it how to swim, you know. Anyway, back to the racing. Ryan Jones here in 5th place at the moment to the left-hander. Follows Adam Lavis down across the start-finish line. To turn 1 we go. Riding with Jonesy up Mountain Straight. Good to see improvement from Stephen Lawrence this turn, but also from this bloke Ryan Jones. And how tough an assignment have you got on your hands here, Adam, to keep him at bay?
Well, it's the story of GT4 at the moment. The Porsche's brakes are pretty phenomenal, so it's very hard to keep them behind or get past them. But at least down the bottom of the hill with the straights, it felt like Jones had a bit of a high downforce setup compared to me, because it was sort of a little bit easier to keep him away at Conrod and Mountain Straight, but across the top he was pretty mega. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he used a little bit more handles than me, and the big heavy Mustang was just doing its best on the straights to try and counteract that. But obviously at some point, if he gets a sniff, those brakes are going to be way better than mine, so we'll see what happens.
Ryan Jones follows Adam Lavis across the top of the mountain towards McPhillamy. Ash Johnson is third. Adam Lavis is fourth. And Ryan Jones rounds out the top five. But yeah, that's I mean, I've obviously taken the headlight flash and run with it there a little bit to talk about general public road usage. But it's interesting, isn't it? The little 1%ers that these guys will try and use just to put you off, just to try and distract you and upset your rhythm in your game, Adam.
Oh,
How do you combat that? How do you conquer that?
So the funny thing is, that's the first time I've seen those lights flash.
Oh.
I didn't even notice during the race.
The race was a week ago. I love it. I love it. Down to Caltech's chase. Jonesy zeroes in. Just here, you're getting an indicator as to how strong that Ford is performance-wise. But is Jonesy doing the fuel save as well? Is Jonesy trying to one up one of the good fuel savers in the side to try and leap him in pit lane? Across the start finish line. Here's his run. Here's his chance. Down main straight we go. To Hell Corner. Jonesy down the inside. Dive bomb. Gets through. And moves up into fourth place. Damage done, though, because he's 6.6 seconds behind Stefan Lawrence and Paul Wood. Up Mountain Straight we go. Lawrence, another fastest club of the race. 2:13.262. We've got a real race on our hands here, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you along. Thursday afternoon motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. There's the pace. The straight line poke of the Mustang for all to see. Now they're running panels at turn 2. Jonesy prevails, but not without one hell of a fight from our mate Mav. Oh, Jones rolled it, Jamie Whincup style wide into the cutting. He gets away with it. Kept it off the wall, kept the boot into it. But Porsche does not have the straight line poke of the Mustang. We know that. It was just evident there for all to see. How does the Bimmer compare to the Mustang? Let's wait and see. Now Dale Sharp follows his team out across the top of the mountain. But Jonesy under brakes. That Porsche is strong. It found a way by. Lavis, of course, slots back in. Position number 5. Points race really tight at the moment. No Jordan Malcolm on the grid. Thank you, Australian Grand Prix. Jonesy, of course, actually, I was a little bit surprised to see that he got out of the Albert Park precinct early enough. It was an early finish on Thursday. About 6 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, everything wrapped up there. So I'm a little bit surprised that he was able to get through the traffic and the Ritz-Air rush past. Or maybe he just borrowed a sim on site at the Australian Grand Prix, I'm not sure. Down Conrod we go. Dale Sharp. The Bimmers were known for their straight line poke once upon a time. Not so much now. The Mustang.
I think the Bimmers still got a pretty decent straight line poke, especially if you get a high altitude track, because it's got the turbo. It really kicks in.
And I guess the other thing as well, to finish the point with Jonesy there as well, the fact that the Porsche did eventually get by you. Track position is king here, mate, as we know, and I feel as though that Porsche's just a little bit stronger over the top, which is why he's been able to build that buffer. He's got it out to 0.9 of a second on you in the course of the better part of a lap as we head up Mountain Straight again. Lap 7. 4 laps every 9 minutes. 9 fours are 36. 4 times 4 is 16. 2 makes 18. I reckon that's where we're going. Just to, I never got to finish the point off with regards to how we were doing the mathematics on this one, ladies and gentlemen. And I can take photos of the desk if you need me to verify that there's no paperwork in front of me, no pens or anything, no scribbling, no brainstorming, figuring out whatever you want to call it, going on with regards to when I do those numbers. It's all on the top of the head, which is why I can say maths isn't a strong point. Because sometimes I get it wrong because my head just doesn't want to cooperate. In the meantime, up at the top of the mountain again, Lawrence, Wood, Dodgson, then Jones, Lavis and Sharp, the top 6. I don't think I've got any around the grounds updates for you. That's the only disappointing thing about doing a daytime broadcast. We were able to go around the grounds last night with the MBL, and so the cricket, the Monday Cup final, of course. Yes, correct. Hello, Greg Heaney. Good afternoon to you. In case he hasn't mentioned it yet, yes, no good with maths. And by the way, I'm sure it's in paperwork somewhere at home from my neurosurgeon in my early pre-adult phase of life, right up until I think, right up until I was 24, I had Dr. Robert Jones as my neurosurgeon, and he was the one that said, maths will most likely be Zach's worst subject. Maths will be the thing that he struggles with. So I have that medically proven and documented somewhere. I've just got to go and find it. Always nice to prove people wrong when the opportunity presents itself, though. Across the line we go. 16 minutes gone. And a very tame race by GT4 and by Mount Panorama standards, quite frankly. In comes Brian Levitt to get the pit stops underway. Arc Register Robert Colbreth have also been in. Bobby Camo, Eduardo Zamora, the early retirements here. We're down to 16. We're down to 16 before we started because John O'Harris and Will Ramsden didn't start. We're down to 14 now, and we've got 11 yet to stop. Lawrence, Wood, Dodson, Jones, Lavis, start the top 6. 4 Porsches, 4 Fords, a Bimmer and a Merc in the top 10. 2 Astons just outside. And the road ahead for these guys, tomorrow, when we're back with you, where we're bringing you all the action from the Circuit of Barcelona. We're excited about that. 40 minutes around there, that will be a tough grind, actually, because I reckon that's one of those circuits that, just as we saw the other night, lends itself better to open wheel racing. Then on to Alton Park. Sprint racing coming up there next week. Then the 60-minute enduro from the Nürburgring World Endurance Championship configuration to bring the curtain down on this campaign. Now, just a reminder too, folks, I will start pumping this up because we need to document it and we need everybody to be on board. With those 2 grand finals, as Mark Register has a little bit of a skirmish coming on to the main straight, and we pick him up on screen now, that livery's giving off, remember the Peugeot British Touring Car Championship liveries from back in the late 90s? That's giving off those sort of vibes as far as I'm concerned. Not the, did I say World or British? British Touring Car Championship from the Toka PlayStation era. The interesting thing combining all of that, Adam, when you look at the next 3 weeks, I think it's important that we document this now for the benefit of those in the Legend cars and also in this series, GT4. Your 10th round, everything starts 15 minutes earlier. So it'll be a 7:30 race start for the season finale. For the Legends, it's because we're adding a 3rd sprint race into the mix. So it'll be 10, 15 and 25. And for these guys, it's because it's a 1-hour race. And it'll give us enough in the way of leverage time, movement time, to get everybody out of that server into the next server, which for the Legends will be the supercars from the same venue, the Adelaide Parklands. And then, of course, for these guys, to get into the Porsches at Phillip Island. So, yeah, make note of that. And also that will impact our broadcast time in week 10 for the Wednesday night at least. We'll be live in the earlier time of 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time, 4:25 on the West Coast. On the Thursday, it'll just mean we go a little further into the night. By that point, we should be live for the Porsches. And then as soon as we're done wrapping up the Porsches and crowning the champions, we'll go and broadcast the 60 minutes of GT4, and looking forward to that immensely. It'll be nice to get back into a rhythm of doing some live coverage on a Thursday night, running up against the footy in the AFL. Across the top we go. Whoa! Franklin with a wall scrape. Franklin with a big wall scrape at the grate. $11 cars yet to stop. Porsche racing still to come. We're taking you to the Adelaide Parklands for that. Very much looking forward to that, because like most new toys that arrive in the server, a lot of hype around Adelaide. And the first time the Porsche Cup there. So really excited about what might unfold. And I know a lot of competitors would be equally as excited for that as well. The good thing about Circuit of Barcelona Catalunya, by the way, folks, for these guys for tomorrow, is that there was rain in that forecast. So if it comes to fruition, we're in for some slip and slide and some fireworks, which will be terrific. A lot of interest also, Adam, with St. Pete coming into the server very shortly. Hopefully, probably more so than the Miami International Autodrome, quite frankly. Dale Sharp, the pit lane.
Yeah, it might be interesting to see how much love that track gets. It's a little bit of a tight, twisted track, so it'd be good. But it is one of those things. Like there is a bit of a call amongst the community for some more street tracks. So St. Pete will hopefully help fill that little bit of a void, given there's only currently 4. This will be the 5th street track now. So yeah, it's just slowly building its repertoire of concrete canyons.
Indeed, and interesting to note as well. Like most people, I went and sampled the new Motor Racing 360. I was able to skim through bits and pieces of it. I didn't want to watch all of it, just because I don't hate the real world supercar racing. I was able to sit there and watch it last night, and they broke the news when they were talking to the South Australian Premier, Peter Malinauskas, about the fact that they secretly had MotoGP bosses in Adelaide, whilst the Supercars season finale. They had them there just surveying the scene and sussing it all out as part of the lead up to what inevitably became the steal of the year, taking MotoGP away from Phillip Island at the end of 2026. So that's a big coup. That's good undercover detective work done by them. But I hope at the same time they've put in a call to iRacing and said, look, how about in November 2027 when we shut the circuit off and we shut it all off for 2 weeks, because there's going to be, the way they put it, it's going to be MotoGP break weekend, so probably the Australian Superbike Championship might race at the Bend to fill the void there, or something else will happen, and then they'll come back and do the Supercar finale. Hopefully during that week off, they'll just close everything off, residential access, etc., for a couple of hours, and let the iRacing team go hard at it, so that they can bring in the new configuration of the circuit rather swiftly soon afterwards. And at the same time, while they're here, they may as well scan the Aussie racing car. I know that's on Greg Heaney's bucket list. They may as well scan a Hyundai XL. They may as well scan... what else can they do whilst they're here? No, the Toyota. That's the Supra. That's right, yes. Yeah, they may as well do all of those while they're here. Just book them out for a day, put the cars on, on pit lane there in Adelaide. So there could be some good for the sim world to come out of that coup for the real world. And Brett Bradbury there in 8th spot at the moment has gone to pit lane. So Lawrence, Wood, Dodson, Jones, Lavis and Franklin, with Michael Adams in close tow. They're your top 7 at the moment. Luca Troyan yet to stop, but his biggest problem is the fact that he's just not comfortable at the moment in that Aston Martin. Too many mistakes to the point where he's got 4 drivers ahead of him that have already completed their splash and dash. So Troyan's struggling to get to grips with the Aston right now. And that, I was excited when the Aston came in. I know your brother came in and had a fang in it as well. There was a lot of love for the Aston initially, but it's kind of tapered off in recent weeks and months, and even years. It's now clearly a 3-manufacturer game. It's interesting that Woodsy is flying the flag for Merck in what is an otherwise Porsche and Ford dominated top half of the field.
I'm sure if Trent had time to come race, he'd be back in the Aston. That's one of his favourite cars. So I think
exactly.
Although, yeah, I don't think he's driven the Mustang yet, so it'd be interesting to see if he has a try of it. But yeah, I think his Aston is his sort of go-to if he doesn't like the Ford. So, but yeah, he's just obviously a bit busy with life stuff.
Well, not only that, he's going back circuit racing as well, so real-world stuff. So good luck to him with that. I won't be trackside to see it, of course, but I'm sure I'll hear all about it when we do get a chance to catch up with him. That's Stephen Lawrence to the left-hander. Across the start-finish line we go. Another lap in the books. Paul Wood, fastest lap of the race as he tracks down Stephen Lawrence. Merck has come to play, 2:13.196. And all of a sudden, this is well and truly on in earnest here. There's Troyan rejoining the racetrack, a lap down now, having completed his pit stop. And it was a 37.33 second pit stop as well. No real reason to explain why that was the case. Maybe a stop and hold, I'm not sure. But yes, Troyan's back out there. Michael Adams comes to pit lane this time through. And this now firmly hinges on the pit stop, doesn't it? But you just get the feeling that that's where it's going to be decided. Fast over the race to Forward 2:13.196, and points to Ryan Jones for getting the medical references in first up this afternoon on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. A drive-by colonoscopy. Did it feel like that, Adam?
Oh, not right. It was just like with the Mustang. It just if you push even slightly deep in the brakes, it won't get the nose in. And I just made the mistake of Murray's 2 laps in a row, and that was too much of an invite for Ryan, and he got by at Hill Corner.
He did. Should they come again? Another lap in the books. Down into Murray's Corner, they'll go this time via the chase. Stephen Lawrence, Paul Wood. Oh, trouble at the top. Luca Troyan again. Luca Troyan has crunched up at the top. That's a biggie. That's an enormous. Not dissimilar to Robert Culbreth. He's on the tow rope and probably done for the night. And if we're going 18 laps, we are? Oh, good, excellent. Oh, I'm glad we confirmed that. Yeah. I was quietly confident. No, I was more going down the line of we need to work out 75% market. So 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So 9 plus 4.5 is 13.5. You need to complete 14 laps. So Troyan's still a chance if he can get the car repaired, get back out there. I think he might have already burnt his fast repairs, so I think he's done. Stephen Lawrence, Paul Wood, Ash Dodson, Ryan Jones, and Adam Lavis, top 5. And as Ryan has already alluded to, this race was much more exciting a little bit earlier on. It's really simmered somewhat as they make their way down to the chase. Michael Adams.
Well, Adams has already made a few spots under the pits here. So he's jumped up a cut from a bunch of a few, because he was about 3 cars behind Dale. Now he's only 1 or 2, if you count the guys who haven't bidded yet. So
that's right.
So yeah, he's slowly making some ground.
And here we go, trouble. Robert Culbreth again, and that car's looking really sick and sorry. Bang. All the steering gone. He's going to have to try and limp that one back to home. So that might be your 4th retirement of the night, folks. Mark Register, the last runner in the field at the moment, up the road from Culbreth in 12th place, plus 2. Interesting when we look at this as well, Adam. You mentioned that he's been able to advance up the field and use the big people to do his mate. Not 2 for the same reason as Joe Baldwin. Baldwin's up 6 spots. I mean, obviously a beneficiary of Eduardo Zamora and Bobby Cano falling by the wayside as well. At that solid drive from Joe to this point, be up plus 6. Brett Bradbury up in 9th place is -1. Baldwin's chasing these guys at the moment, so you've got the 2 biggest movers in the race. Culbreth dropped, both good to run home. Culbreth off the road again, struggling to limp that car back to pit lane. And Baldwin a real chance here at being +7 or +8 by the time the race is done. I don't think they're catching Sharpie. Sharpie's 3 seconds up the road. There's only 5 laps to go. They'd have to be taking 0.6 of a second out of him per lap. So a solid result coming the way of the BMW shortly. Although, he is the first of those to have completed their pit stop. So, Paul Wood, Ash Dodson in this time by. Does Jonesy go as well? No, Jonesy goes on. And Adam goes on. Franklin and Sharp. Franklin, the last one not to stop in that running order. Lawrence going on to another lap. We probably see him on the pit road at the end of lap 14. That's a solid half-hour run to get through the opening sequence here. There's Paul Wood on the jack in his box. Should be gone any tick of the clock. There he goes, 9.54 seconds. Here comes Brett Bradbury. Oh, Bradbury's got by Adams. There you go. Bradbury has got by Adams. Whilst we're checking out all the hoo-ha on pit lane, Adams has gone back 2 spots now, because not only has Bradbury got through, but Truck has taken a piece of that as well. Taken full advantage. Moves him up to 9th and +7 for Trucker. And now he can go out and pursue to Brett Bradbury. You wouldn't rule Joe out of 8th here. 4.4 the deficit to Dale Sharp. That's probably a bridge too far, but Trucker's looking good for 8th. Colbreth and Troyan on pit lane. Have been for a little while.
He's not even waiting for it.
Here comes Trucker. Not waiting at all. He's happy to make the move and make it stick and do it now. Trucker to 8. +8. Biggest mover of the race by a long shot. Ryan Jones +4. Michael Adams +2. Mark Register +2. The other movers in this race to this point. And Andrew +3. Oh, Joe didn't set a quality lap. They actually, good point, Adam Lavis. Good pickup. So that would mean that Ryan Jones is in the box seat to get the bonus points for the most positions gained, +4. Another one of those little regulations that no doubt someone has an issue with. You would have had to have been with us last night to get that reference, ladies and gentlemen. Across the top we go! Have a look at Brett Bradbury.
He's wide.
He's jumping his way across the river strip. Got to hold on to it. It's going to force Michael Adams and give Joe Baldwin some breathing space. What a save from Brett Bradbury. My goodness.
Oh, move.
Gone for all money, Jake the back. Michael Adams, sick of being forked. He goes through on the inside and back up into 9. It's all happening here. Top 4 on pit road, field cleansed. Wowee. How about this? How about this? Lawrence, Jones, Lavis and Franklin, the top 4. Hopefully you're hearing me all right now, ladies and gentlemen. Just keep us posted with regards to that because, as we say, we've got a couple of teething issues to work through, don't we? There's Adam Lavis off the jacks. 9.81 seconds. 9.3 for Andrew Franklin. 12.2 for Ash Dodson. 8.1 for Jonesy and 9.5 for Paul Wood. Jones has lost the head of the ground, hasn't he? He's got ahead of Dodson. Yeah, good point.
He's overcut Dodson.
Dodson, yeah. Quietly sitting here with headphones. I have calmed down, Greg, don't worry.
And once he got Lawrence on the face.
He did. So there have been 2 overcuts unfold there. Jonesy overcut Dodson and Woodsy undercut Lawrence. So that sets us up beautifully for the run to the checkered flag here. We're interested now because we saw earlier the Ford has the poke in the straight line. How does the Porsche stack up with the Merc? Will Woodsy be able to keep Lawrence at bay? Will Paul Wood be able to keep a calm enough head here to be able to keep Stephen Lawrence behind and deny him another race win in this series? And for Woodsy, it would be a case of picking up his first win of the campaign. He's the championship leader, and he's the championship leader through consistency, Adam. He hasn't actually picked up a race win yet.
I'm not sure if you saw, but I think it was like lap 2 when Stefan took the lead. He came from miles back at the chase here to dive Woodsy, so he really took advantage of the brakes. I think he's definitely going to close enough this time, but look how much he closes already. Look at him.
Yeah, and that's the point. The Porsche just sucked that space away under brakes. The brakes on that are extraordinary, and it really, I guess, cancels out the lack of straight line poke compared to the Mustang. But how does it stack up against the Merc? Let's wait and see. Mountain Straight will be a telling point here. And Woodsy brake clear. But this is the thing, right? And you know better than anybody, Adam, when you're entering a 10-week competition and it's a pick and stick format, you can't just choose a different... Remember the early days, 2020, 2021? We got sick of it eventually, but you could chop and change from manufacturer. It was free reign, right? Everybody just had poetic license to make their garages as big as they wanted to.
It was painful for everybody because there was different cars, different liveries, nothing was the same anyway.
Oh, exactly. No one had any idea what was going on, but it was great fun, right? But obviously, as we've become more streamlined and we've become more prominent in terms of, the amount of seasons we've racked up, the amount of competitors in the club, etc., sponsors, broadcast, all that sort of stuff. But we've had to reel it in a little bit, which is good. We've got the pick and stick format, and it's clear here as Lawrence ranges up. The Porsche is the strongest car across the top of the mountain. That's no secret, right? We've seen fundamental evidence of that already. But it's been the interesting part of the narrative here. You've got to choose between the car that's the complete package across 10 weeks, but you've also got to be comfortable with that car. And we know Paul Wood often talks about cars that he likes driving, cars that he don't. I know you've got a little soft spot for the Mustang. I know Sharpie's got a soft spot for the BMW. Each to their own, but Stephen Lawrence has obviously gone for the Porsche, either for that reason or because it is the car to have at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely feels that if you got someone who knows what they're doing in the Porsche, very hard to beat at the moment. But we'll see where you go here. It's a bit closer than last time, but still, from a normal person, that's a long way back. But still, see how he goes.
Watch the last lap. Watch the last lap. 2 to go at the line, ladies and gentlemen. 36 minutes in the books. Stephen Lawrence to the outside. To the outside. Are you kidding me? Contact grass. Lawrence compromised on the entry to Murray's. But he's in no man's land anyway. Fair play, boys. Press on. That would have been ambitious and insane at the same time. Audacious. Magnificent, thinking and outside the box thinking from Lawrence. Astonishing, quite frankly. Courageous, brave, bold, maybe a little stupid with 2 laps to go, but he's got to try something to try and break the forward defence that is Paul Wood. The outside would have been monstrous. But it's to no avail just yet. Not losing enough time to be out of the fight completely. He's still within striking distance. Press on. Reset. Go again. A lap and a half to go. That would have been move of the year. That would have dead set been the move of the year. But Woodsy was awake to it, alert to it, aware. He parked the car in a position where Stephen Lawrence just ran out of real estate. He had nowhere to go apart from the grass, and we know that that can be detrimental if you take too much of it or stretch the friendship. He's right there this time. This is going to be key. The run down Conrod straight. Look at him. He's just nipping at the heels. He's pushing. Paul Wood to the inside. That was a little bit feisty. I thought there was a bump and rub there, and Woodsy was lucky to keep it off the wall, but it's now set Lawrence up beautifully for the run down Conrod. This is the moment, isn't it? This is where the move happens. Lawrence to the inside. Boys, you're banging doors. There's a lap and a half to go. You've got to get to the flag first. Look at this. Stephen Lawrence and Paul Wood, barely a cone advantage between them. Wood has the inside line. Lawrence has the straight line poke and the braking as well. Woods into the inside, wants to force the issue, keeps the bay as long as he can. He's still there, Paul Wood. He's still there. Now he has to yield and surrender. Stephen Lawrence to the lead at Mount Panorama, but not without a hell of a lot of work. White flag flies. Somehow, Stephen Lawrence and Paul Wood are still pointing straight with undamaged race cards. They've got 6,213 metres left to sort and duke it out. One of the finishes of the year coming up in Disruptive Labs GT4. Up the hill, have a look at him, weaving from right to left. Lawrence trying to keep Paul Wood at bay. Will Woodsy try the outside at Griffins? Yes, he will. Here we go. Paul Wood draws up alongside Stephen Lawrence. They're rubbing door handles again. Paul Wood to the outside. He's in no man's land now. Advantage Stephen Lawrence. Lawrence looking good for his 3rd win of the campaign. And Paul Wood will still hold the championship lead with 3 rounds to go and 4 races left in the fight. Drop rounds coming to the... Actually, no, sorry, good point. Drop rounds coming to the mix tonight as well. I did forget about that. Thank you, Adam.
And also, if there's anyone out there who's a good sim lopper, we need to get rid of that freaking tree. I don't know why I just put that there. It's annoying.
This will be magnificent for Stephen Lawrence, actually, because he's got a 0 coming his way. So you're right. He's probably going to the lead tonight. And what a way to do it with a race win. Drop round week 7. I'm so used to it already being applied because we're in week 8, but obviously we're playing catch up at the moment. What's going on a Thursday afternoon? Down Conrod for the final time. The streets of Adelaide await for the Porsche Cup in just a few moments, folks. But right here and now, right sim racing running amok on Mount Panorama. Stephen Lawrence, 0.8 to the good, not looking back. Gallant effort from Paul Wood, it won't be enough. He does have the fastest time of the race though. So he will pocket a bonus point here, you would suspect. Joe Baldwin had the most positions gained, but he of course didn't qualify. So by default, that'll go to Ryan Jones with +3. Last turn, checkered flag. Chalk up a third race win of the campaign for Stephen Lawrence and Ryan Sim Racing at Mount Panorama and Disruptive GT4. Woodsy in for second, Jonesy third, Ash Dodson comes home in fourth. Adam Davis a bit of a lonely run to fifth in the end. Well clear at Dale Sharp. Andrew Franklin, can he make a lunge at Murray's? On the final lap, the answer is no. Sharpie holds on for sixth. Franklin in for seventh. Joe gets eighth. Ninth to Michael Adams and 10th to Brett Bradbury. Brian Levitt will come home in 11th and Mark Registers half a lap back in 12th. But in the end, Stephen Lawrence back in victory lane. He's on a run at the moment. That's his fourth podium finish on the trot. Third win in 4 races, the third last week, of course, at the Algarve International Circuit. 0.8 the winning margin. Paul Wood in for second, Ryan Jones, Ash Dodson, Adam Lavis, Dale Sharp, Andrew Franklin, Joe Baldwin, Michael Adams. There were +3s there for both Jones and Adams and a +2 for Register. The 8 for Joe, of course, null and voided by the fact that he did not qualify. The burn from the stern, however, still impressive to see him come through in 8th. Nice to see him back on the grid. It has been a while. Let's have a look at what that means for the championship, folks. Actually, no, let's go race highlights first. There we go. Race highlights. This was what happened on the opening lap to Eduardo Zamora. Was there contact? No, it looks like he did it all on his own. Coming out of Griffins. Just a bit too much jandle. Yep.
Cold tyres.
Lit it up. Yep, cold tyres just lit it up on the exit of Griffins, and that was it. He was a passenger from that point. Reese was Mark Register in the early stages. Oh. Did well to minimise the damage there, but still lost a lot of track time. Robert Colbreth and Joe Baldwin. That was a good move from Joe. Colbreth too deep. Into the grass. See you later. Nice rejoin though. Less erratic than some. This was the first of many incidents for Luca Troyan, who ended up a retirement tonight. There were, I think, 4 retirements in the end. Robert Colbreth, this was the first of the big ones that we saw at the top of the mountain, and this was a monster. Too much curb, and goodbye. Oh, how well did he do to keep it off the outside wall? He got the inside, but he kept it off the outside. Minimised the damage, but it was still detrimental anyway. Troyan again, this time at the chase. Curb, grass, back on. Standard Bathurst 101, quite frankly. Now, Brian Levitt in 10th. To the left, across the grass, to the right. Some excursions down there bigger than others in this race for Disruptive Labs GT4. Look at Troyan, this was the top of the mountain. Oh! Wow. Violent shunt. And normally that's something you'd see in a Porsche Cup race. Robert Colbreth.
That is exactly what David Reynolds did last year.
Exactly. 100%. And I'm pretty sure we saw something similar in the 1984 race as well, if you go back and look at the highlights, and that was back in the day where you didn't have the off-track runoff area. It was just sand and gravel. Brian Levitt, position number 11. Here's Mark Register again. This was the end of lap 14 for him. Stephen Lawrence and Paul Wood, what a great little scrap this was. And in the end, Lawrence prevails. Righto, that's what it means. Whoa, here we go. Here we go. Stefan Lawrence to the top. Now, so see, this is the thing, right? This is what those idiots were whinging about last night, about the drop rounds and all that sort of stuff. In this instance, yes, you're right. Paul Wood is disadvantaged by the drop rounds because he has 332 points, but that's why the drop rounds are there. 25 points is not a death sentence. Woods is still in contention. Woods is still there with 2 weeks to go. Lawrence is going to be tough to, or 3 weeks to go. Lawrence is going to be tough to beat, no doubt about that. But yes, Paul Wood is still firmly in the mix. Top 4 covered by 33, top 5 by 47. It's Porsches 1, 2 and 4. Merc of Wood in 3rd. Mustangs of Lavis and Vaughn 5th and 6th. Sharpie in the BMW in 7th. Eduardo Zamora, despite the DNF, remains 10th in the point standings. But yes, Lawrence 277, Malcolm 265, 252 for Wood. And don't rule out Ryan Jones just yet either. He could reel in that 33 points over the next couple of weeks and still get the job done. He could get the W just yet. Oh boy. 230 for Adam Lavis is not too far away either. We do it with thanks to Disruptive, Love, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com and Flash Graphics. The road ahead is the Circuit of Barcelona Catalunya tonight. Those guys fire off in Wheels of Anger at 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. We bring it to you tomorrow afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, around 2:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And hope you can join us for that. It's another Friday afternoon special on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and then we get the weekend off. And we'll get you out of here in time that you can still go and watch Formula One. Sprint qualifying tomorrow night as well. And of course tomorrow we've got Joe Baldwin and Liam Banks in here. Banksy's back from his little rendezvous. He's back for the GTE series, also with thanks to Disruptive Labs, coming to you from the Monza circuit in Italy. So Mount Panorama done. Circuit of Barcelona is still to come. A single 40-minute race there tonight. You'll see it tomorrow. Alton Park for sprint racing next week, and of course onto the Nürburgring for the 60-minute enduro finale a week after. Speaking of the Nürburgring, the Porsches are there next week for a 60-minute enduro, but they will be on the Nordschleife, so we're looking forward to that. And on the subject of the Porsches, they're still to come. We're here with thanks to all the great people scrolling across the top and the bottom of your screen. We remind you that if you want to sign up and get involved, do race.tgsrci.com is the website in which you need to visit to get all that aforementioned information and so much more. And merch.tgsrci.com is where you go for all the relevant GSRC merch and paraphernalia. We take a break. We go from Bathurst, we go southwest. We go to the streets of Adelaide on the other side, and we're going street racing for the GSRC Porsche Cup. We'll bring you the opening race from the AM split, the second race from the open split, results from the elite split as well. So much still to come this afternoon. Hope you can stay with us. racing coverage of round 7 action from both the Disruptive Labs GT4 series and also now, of course, the Porsche Cup, and a homeland doubleheader for us last week. This is leg 2 of that, the sprint round for the Porsche Cup from the streets of Adelaide in South Australia. Of course, the city of churches, not so silent when motor racing comes to town. Although that being said, it would not surprise me if they go after Formula E next, and then in which case it would be bloody silent, wouldn't it? Here we go. I'm looking forward to this. It should be an absolute belter because we're bringing you the second to last sprint round, of course. We've got a great array of action to come in this series. We've got the AM split first up, the open split second up. There's the circuit, 3.21 kilometres for you. 4 rounds still to come in the campaign, of course. We're off to the Miami International Autodrome, just a standalone single race affair tomorrow. Then, of course, we go to the Nürburgring Nordschleife straight after that, and then on to Phillip Island for the super sprint. So this is the second to last of the sprint rounds for you, which will encompass races 9 and 10 of the campaign. And the weather conditions and all that we'll get to in just a moment, but yep, 3.21 kilometres, newest circuit on the server, and a lot of hype and a lot of excitement around it as well. And of course it joins, there are now circuits in 3 different states represented on the iRacing server from this part of the world. There are 3 in New South Wales, one of course no longer with us in the real world. There are, what have we got, 3 in Victoria. So actually no, this is the 8th different circuit. No, 7th. Sorry, 2 in New South Wales, 3 in Victoria. I'll get it right eventually, and 2 now in South Australia. So it's very much that bottom left corner or bottom right corner, depending upon which way you look at the map, of the country that is covered as far as iRacing is concerned. Still no love for the Northern Territory, Queensland, Western Australia or South Australia, or Tasmania, of course. But we'll get there eventually, I'm sure. Let's have a look at the AM standings in the Porsche Cup. Kelly McLaren on top by 1 over Jordan Dakin and Cameron Dakin in behind on 242. Nathan Harvey 235. Lee Peckham 234. Rick Cowling Fitzgerald 213. Jolan Hansen 190. Kurt Normanson 186. Edward Rollo 185. And Tristan Koch 162 points. When they do come over here, hopefully they'll go and not just, I don't know why they're bothered with northeastern Victoria, but I hope they go to Sydney Motorsport Park, but then also just trek down the Hume Highway and go and scan One Raceway in Goulburn as well while they're at it, because I reckon a club racing circuit, even though it doesn't host any big time events anymore, it'd be good to have a club racing circuit on the server. There's the circuit, there's the overview. Fine, bright, sunny conditions for you, ladies and gentlemen. 2 o'clock in the afternoon local server time, that was Australian Central Daylight Time. 15 km/h winds in a southwesterly direction. Jeez, I'm having a shocker. 27 the ambient, 38% humidity, 48 on track. Jesus, they're hot conditions, aren't they? The tyres will be begging for mercy on a track that hot. Jordan Dakin, Cameron Dakin, all Dakin front row for Northwind Motorsport. They're going well at the moment, aren't they? Across the various different splits in which they're popping up and having a run. Rick Cowling Fitzgerald and Tristan Koch the 2nd row. Edward Rollo, Alan McDonald the 3rd row. And Nathan Harvey, Troy Mortensen, Jolan Hansen and Daniel Stone the first 5 rows on the grid. Back 9 looks like this. Kelly McLaren, Lee Peckham. Slow qualifying for Kelly. Hopefully Kelly can make his way forward for the Yokozuki Works team. Lee Peckham alongside him. Daniel Claridge and Shane Beaumont, the 7th row. Luke Wegener and Brett Bradbury, the 8th row. Barry Punter and Justin Cahir, the 9th row. David Ewing yet to take his position on the grid, but if he does, he makes up the field. Ready to fire. Still waiting for Troy Mortensen, still waiting for Brett Bradbury, still waiting for David Ewing. Once they come into position, we'll have a start here on the streets of Adelaide. Big crowd on hand, great to see. Porsche Cup, no longer the support act here. They are the main act, the main course on a big Thursday night. Thursday afternoon replay is underway. Cameron Dakin, a beautiful jump, gets the better of Jordan to turn 1. Now, can they scramble through here without incident? Let's wait and see. So far, no. It was good right up until it wasn't. Unfortunately, 3 cars caught up in all of that. They are Wegener, Cahir and Punter. And Wegener the worst for wear out of all of that. Mortensen being passed on the inside now by Daniel Stone and Hansen and McLaren. And Packer will take a piece of that as well. McLaren up into 9th. That's key. As Mortensen drops outside the top 12. Around the outside goes Brett Bradbury. Can he make that move stick? No, not yet. Big movement early on. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th remain exactly where they started. Everybody else has chopped and changed. Just the 18 starters. Adam again. A bit light on numbers compared to where we've been in the Porsche Cup so far. But I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing around here especially, because the one thing that intensifies or increases, amplifies when you have extra cars on the grid is the potential for trouble.
Yeah, it was one of those things. It was when we went to the 3 splits, it was very tricky. It was at a point where if we did just 2, it was still going to be 2 very, very large splits if they continue the numbers. So the 3 splits was a bit wise at time, but it looks like, yeah, I think next season we probably be back to the regular 2 split program with the way the numbers are going. But yeah, at least for the rest of this season, we'll see how these guys can play out, because they're already pretty deep in their championship, so you can't really get back to 2 splits now, because that would throw people all over the place in the bottom 2 splits, and that wouldn't be very fair on them. So we'll see how they can finish it off, and then we'll reset and go again next season.
Indeed, and looking forward to next season already. As I say, I anticipate a stop on the streets of St. Petersburg coming up as well. Now, let's remind you, I mentioned earlier that point situation, only 1 point between Kelly McLaren and Jordan Dakin. Drop rounds coming to the equation at the end of the night. Dakin, of course, has prime position on the racetrack at the moment to the tune of 7 positions. So that's to his advantage. There's Kelly McLaren down on the inside, make it 8. Yep. Forceful on the inside, little bit of elbow use required. Get by Daniel Stone, that moves up into 8th spot. Nathan Harvey is only 7 spots off Cameron Dakin in the points place there for 3rd and 4th, because the gap between 1st and 3rd is 42. And then it's another 7 back. Harvey's only got 1 on Peckham now. Nathan Harvey at the moment out there in 7th and Peckham down in 10th. So those battles are teetering on the brink at the moment. Dakin under pressure here from Dakin. Let's do Dakin, 1st and 2nd. Rick Cowan gets Gerald as 3rd. It's nice and tight at the top on the streets of Adelaide. A 12-lap affair to get us going. Bang on the money. Bang on the money. I can tell Adam Lavis has had his calculator out. 12, of course. So 120 a lap. 2 is 243 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 12 laps, 16 minutes. There's your maths done, quick and simple for you, ladies and gentlemen. I love it when it's easy. Now that's, yeah, and they're cruel around here too. Nathan Harvey drops down the order. Next target that he's going to have to contend with there will be Kelly McLaren. He's under pressure from Daniel Stone. Alan McDonald is there in position number 6 at the moment. And he was the beneficiary of Harvey's slowdown and might yet end up with one of his own. They're easy to attract around here. Dakin 121.009. Dakin 121.559. Jordan leads Cameron. Northern 1-2. The start finish line 120.996. We're into the 20s now. Whoa, look at the curb. Look at the pogo. Wow. They are a pogo stick around here. I've said it before. And it's not just this circuit. The general consensus, Adam, you've driven these enough to know, but the general consensus is iRacing's got a little bit of fine-tuning and adjusting to do to eliminate the pogo stick element, which is keeping everybody on their toes at the moment.
Yeah, it's unfortunately apparently it's a little bit tricky because it's something that also affects the way these cars handle now. The overall handling of the cars is nice, just that obviously they don't settle over the bumps, so it's going downside. So if they can try and find a way to finesse that, we'll find out tonight if there was any updates in the update this week. So we'll see tonight if it's any different. Yeah. But I don't know if it's going to be this update or next update or a hot fix or whatever. But yeah, it'd be nice if they can try and get these cars a little bit more stable over the the bouncy parts, because then they'll be a rip tear raw good car to drive.
Indeed they will be. Nathan Harvey sits 6th. Northwind Motorsport 1-2-4 at the moment. Edward Rollo out there in place. And Daniel Tony 9th. So they've got 4 in the top 10. The 3 absolute debacle racing entries at 15th. 18th start. 18th still running. 120.531 for Jordan Dakin. Fast by the race. And Jordan, of course, taking lead away back from Cameron. So that battle in the championship again ignites once more. Massive weekend of sport coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll run through that a little bit later on because it gets underway tonight. And how lucky am I that the 1 week they put Sydney Swans on Thursday night footy, I'm going to be here next week, aren't I? Because 1 week we're going back live. Can't win. Come on down for Tristan Koch this time. Costly. Real costly. Broncos Eels tonight, of course, in Thursday night NRL. And of course, in the AFL, ladies and gentlemen, the traditional opening Thursday night clash of round 1 is Carlton and Richmond. That one from 7:30. You'll see it on 7, mate, or 7, depending upon your jurisdiction. And of course, you will see the NRL on 9 on Gem, depending upon where you are around Australia. Greg Heaney's comment there is interesting. The combo of this car and track actually felt really good. Cruised over the bumps and curves with not too much issue. If you hit the centre curb wrong, yeah, it was bad, but the rest was good. Are you giving us a little bit of a spoiler alert there, Greg? Daniel Claridge, there in 13th spot.
This is probably one of the biggest downsides of doing a replay race here at Adelaide is obviously the flag system doesn't work, so we can't see all the yellow flags popping up for everyone's slowdowns, unfortunately.
Correct.
So we're back,
just going to back, as to happen.
Yeah, so we're back to the old days of not knowing.
That's it. Nothing wrong with that. Can fly blind occasionally. They're well versed in this caper now. Nathan Harvey and Kelly McLaren, 6 and 7. Daniel Stone and Lee Peckham and Tristan Koch. Here they go. Down the inside, McLaren up into 6th. Good move. And also Stone up into 8th. Fending off Peckham. Koch has lost 6 spots as a result of that slowdown and other factors. But holds on to the invert pole for now. Interesting road still to come. Obviously, Miami, then to Europe, to the Nürburgring, then back here to Phillip Island, and we're very, very excited about that. Little column A, little column B. I like it, Greg. Thank you. Across the line we go, side by side, up ahead, but there's no way they're going 2x2 through the centre.
That'll be a slowdown there for Stone.
Absolutely. If you get that centre chicane wrong, the tyre wall bundle is waiting for you on the inside as well. Porsche Cup cars can be rewarding, but also bite hard. Luke Alavoine, good to have you tuning in, mate. Enjoying the ride so far, as are we. There's been much discussion about the new incarnation, the new era of Porsche Cup cars on the iRacing server, and so far so good. And down the back straight we go. Can't be any worse than the Formula 1 issues that they're having at the moment with their new car. Starts Oscar. 7 of 12. Past half race distance. Rick Cowling Fitzgerald was in the wall. Rick Cowling Fitzgerald. I saw some debris on the racetrack. Rick Cowling Fitzgerald has bit the concrete at 8. Wowee. I'll look at the replay a little bit later on. That's the other thing with the replays. All the highlights, all the replays will come away at the very end of the race coverage. Well, you cannot wait to see what's happened to Rick Cowling Fitzgerald because that's taken him out of 3rd place. Edward Rollo has gone through to 3rd, Alan McDonald to 4th, and Kelly McLaren now up into 5th. So unfortunately, Rick Cowling Fitzgerald's demise has been to the benefit of Kelly McLaren in relation to the battle with Jordan Dakin for championship position. The drop round equation there is going to be very interesting because really neither one of them had anything to write home about in round 1. A shocking first race, 14th and 16th. Then Dakin's 11th in the second round wasn't ideal either, but then since then they've been top 6 contenders right up until the second race at the Hockenheim last week for Dakin. So McLaren's had the better run of the mill. But to only lead by 1 point, drop rounds are going to be ever so critical to determining how this falls either way. 4 to go at the line, and Dakin leads on the streets of Adelaide. To Dakin 1-2. It's a Northwind Motorsport 1-2-3. Don't forget, wide goes Peckham. Deep and wide. Balked it on the exit. Yeah, that's not ideal, but he managed to save it. Obviously, he's lost some ground to Daniel Stone, but kept Christian Koch and Troy Morton to the bay. Open split coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen. Open split racing as soon as we're done here. A big Thursday afternoon live exclusive and free, or the commentary's live exclusive and free. But the racing, of course, on an almost 1 week delay. Tomorrow we turn it around 2:30 Eastern. Adam and I are here to bring you all the action again from the same 2 categories actually. This will be their week 8 offering. That was Peckham. Surely that's a slowdown. Yep. Pays the price every time. Loses 2 spots. Hortonson goes by. Tristan Koch went by before that. Kellen McLaren, biggest mover of the race so far. +6. And how many times, Adam, have we? Because this is what infuriates me as well. There's a lot of people that don't necessarily understand the little added incentives that rest within our bonus points allocation system. So there's bonus points for the fastest qualifier. There's bonus points for the fastest lap in the race. There's bonus points for having a clean race, which is a 0x from iRacing. So as soon as you get a slowdown, that's out the window.
No, not necessarily. Not all slowdowns carry X's.
Okay, copy. Then obviously most positions gained is another one as well. As long as you were in the qualifying session, as long as you set a time in qualifying, you're eligible for that.
Representative time.
And how many times? Yeah, that's right. How many times have we seen championships come down to those little 1%ers, and as a result of that, how many of our drivers have then later sat in here and spoke to us after the race and said, as we watch a move here on the inside, no, Harvey unable to get by this time. McDonald is wide. I
was going to say,
around the outside.
There's a very interesting entry line into turn 4 there by McDonald, but almost cost him, but he's still got those position for now.
But Harvey and McLaren are now within striking distance. Wegener slows, goes around the outside, I should say, of Daniel Claridge. So the absolute debacle boys now run 11th, 13th and 17th. Still 18 runners. Callum Fitzgerald did get back out there after he's run in on the tow rope. And Justin Cahir's got back out there. Brett Bradbury had to come to pit lane as well. He remains out there on 14th position at the moment. No one's a lap down yet. Rick Cowling Fitzgerald vulnerable to that, but not if he maintains the pace. Sliding through was McDonald, caught it somehow. Harvey could have a look down here at the final corner. No, not yet. But more and more you're seeing some of the championship contenders, Adam, sweat on those bonus points. They're a vital part of the equation, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not huge by themselves, but over the course of a season, they can add up to a decent chunk of points and can be a difference at the end of the day.
Indeed, they can be.
Especially if you're in championships like with Sam Muir and Chapo, where it ends in 1 point.
And Chapo, by his own admission on that occasion, said, Sam Muir's qualifying pace. Sam Muir's ability to clock the fastest lap. Sam Muir's ability to have a clean race, All the little bonuses add up. Dakin, Rollo, McDonald, Harvey, McLaren, Stone, and Cox are top 8. Big hit of the ball from Nathan Harvey.
He doesn't need that mirror.
No, he doesn't. No, you're right. Doesn't need it. Won't require it. Happy without it.
There's a funny thing actually in the sim. The guy's like, "Oh, the mirror's gone." So
McLaren a little bit wide on the exit of the third to last corner as well. Is that turn 11 over there? Yeah, it is. 2 Dakins have taken off, haven't they? 5 seconds to the good on Edward. Make it 6. Northwind Motorsport, another new team name to platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in recent times. And this is the final lap. White flag flies. Figuratively. Is Barney actually there? I haven't seen Barney. Do we have a Barney on the streets of Adelaide? Yes, we do. Yes, excellent. How can he get to Adelaide quicker than he can to Tail and Ben when Tail and Ben's been in the server 6 months longer? Doesn't add up for mine. Does not add up. Jordan Dakin. This will be for the championship lead provisionally as he enters the last sequence of corners. Top rounds are going to spice things up in his battle with Kelly McLaren for the championship. But right now, chalk up victory in race number 1 for Jordan Dakin. On the outside at turn 14, his teammate and his sibling Cameron decides to yield. He doesn't mount a challenge. Across the line we go. 4th finish 1-2. How about that? Shades of 77. Edward Rollo 3rd. McDonald, Harvey, McLaren make up the top 6. Jordan Dakin will lead the championship going into race 2. Checkered flag flies. 8th went to Tristan Koch, just behind Daniel Stone, just ahead of Troy Mortensen and Lee Peckham made up the top 10. Shane Beaumont, Luke Wegener, then Daniel Claridge, Brett Bradbury, then Joel and Hanson, Barry Punter, Justin Cahir and Rick Cowling Fitzgerald made up the 18 in this field. We'll have a look at the highlights. We're particularly interested in seeing what the hell happened to Rick Cowling Fitzgerald, but yeah, a fair bit of action to pick apart in that one, as there always seems to be when we go racing on a street circuit. Cameron and Jordan Dakin lighten it up in a jubilant celebration on the back of a clinical performance here on the streets of Adelaide. Let's have a look. But that one, Barry Punter. Oh yeah, nowhere to go for poor old Baz. Then just got railroaded. Trying to evade, trying to get out of the accelerator to take evasive action and get through cleanly, and then just got punted. Very appropriate, actually, given the surname. And there's another one, Joel and Hanson this time getting in to the car that was in 15th at the time. That was Rick Cowling Fitzgerald. We probably need to have another look at that. That is a monster shunt, and he's broken the steering. Absolutely smashed it. Have a look at this. Caught the wall on the inside, yep. He's done a Chaz. Caught the wall on the inside. Not as violent a shunt on the outside, but the inside's what's done the damage there. Broken the suspension, broken the steering, and he's a passenger. That took him out of the fight for the 1st, 2nd and 3rd, and the only one standing in the way of Northwind Motorsport. Barry Punter again. Geez, he couldn't avoid incidents tonight, Baz. He was in the thick of them. Absolutely in the thick of them. Some by his own doing, and many of them not so. Nathan Harvey. And then we go back to Lee Peckham. No more to show? Okay, good. All right. Let's have a look at the championship points, because this will come in after the results of race 2. We may as well just run through for you now as well, ladies and gentlemen. So those race 2 results, thank you, Adam. 1st for Jordan Dakin again, 2nd for Cameron Dakin, 3rd, as you can see there, for Nathan Harvey. 4th went the way of Edward Rollo, then Lee Peckham, Alan McDonald, Daniel Stone, Joel and Hanson, then Shane Beaumont, Tristan Koch made up the top 10. Did I just run along the way? I feel as though I did. Doesn't matter. But there they are on your screen, folks. 2 Dakins, Harvey, Rollo, Peckham, McDonald, Stone, Hanson, Beaumont. Tristan Koch, better run in a 2nd race. 9 points the advantage now that Jordan enjoys over Cameron and Kelly. Yeah, I can see this thing, right? I can understand people whinging and moaning if they lose the lead in the championship points fight on the drop rounds, but there's still time to rectify that, of course. What I don't understand is people who extend their advantage with the drop rounds coming into the equation and still whinge and moan and groan about it, like last night. Jordan Dakin, Cameron Dakin, 1 and 2, 9 points the margin there, so the siblings have gone to the top for Northwind Motorsport. And Kelly McLaren, Nathan Harvey, only 3 points in that. So 25 covers the top 4. Genuine 4-horse race with 5 races to go now in the Porsche Cup. A fortunate affair tonight around Miami. Then, of course, 60 minutes next week around the Nordschleife. Then the Super Sprint the week after. And I believe the Super Sprint we're going to chop and change between the servers. So bring you race 1 from the AM Split, race 2 from the Open, and then race 3, the feature from the Elite Split. That makes for interesting reading there, Adam, because as you say, 25 points covers the top 4. Anyone can win that now.
Yeah, it's a very close tight group there, so very interesting to see how these guys put their races together for the last handful of races of the season. Plenty of points online. So you got the big enduro points we'll go tonight, which is regular race. Yeah, all of it regular. So we've done our sprint, and regular tomorrow night, endurance, then super sprint. So last 4 rounds of the season are all the point variation. So they just increase across the night. So these guys are going to get all these races to count, and it's all going to be on the line for the AM Split title.
Interesting to note as well, only 96 points covers the top 10 at the moment. So the positional battles reign right down even below the top 10 in fact. Look at that. Edward Rollo down to Tristan Koch. That's 7 drivers covered by 20 points. So there's a lot of time left for moving and some slicing and dicing and some changing in that order. And there will be winners and losers in that equation across the next 5 races, I am sure. We are back here tomorrow afternoon to bring you all the action from the Elite Split, I believe it is, this week from the Miami International Autodrome, at which point we'll also have the results from the AM Split. And the good on you, Jordan. Thanks, mate. From the Open Split as well. But Elite Split, we'll have those Elite Split results for you very shortly, but in the meantime, we'll take a break and we'll come back. We're here with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch on GSRC.inc and Flash Graphics. These are the platforms of journalists and racing clubs. This is Thursday afternoon Motorsport, a replay of round 7 in the Porsche Cup for you on the back of course, bringing you the equivalent for Disruptive Labs GT4. We hope you're enjoying our coverage. We're doubling up this week. Adam and I are getting very well acquainted. This is broadcast number 4, and there's still 2 to come. Thankfully, we bail out after 5, do a driver change. Joe Baldwin, Liam Banks jump aboard to steer the ship through tomorrow night for you from Monza for GTE. But yes, tomorrow, round 8 replay action for you in full from 2:30 Eastern Daylight Time. A quick break and back. We move our attention to the feature race and the Open Split in just a few moments' time. And then, of course, the results from the Elite Split and the Championship points update as well. These are the platforms of Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We're streaming across Facebook and YouTube. We hope you're enjoying our coverage. Just sitting 3:30 on the East Coast, 12:30 on the West Coast, 5:30 in New Zealand. Great to have you along wherever you choose. Well, there's a reason why I'm doing the time call. Hello, Joe Baldwin. These are the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. This is a Thursday afternoon motorsport replay, bringing you all the action from round 7 action, which of course took place last Thursday night. To answer the question of Sean Benici, I know Adam Lavis has already covered it off. We are hoping to next week move into a hybrid sort of broadcast setup on a Thursday night, whereby we do the main course live and then go back and recap the entree, which is GT4, with an as live replay on the same night. So your main course will precede your entree, with Andrew Neal stepping on board into the broadcast team to take some weight off Adam Lavis's shoulders, quite frankly, in the next couple of months. But yes, that's subject to confirmation, and obviously Andrew being ready and willing to go ahead with that. So as a result, yes, tonight's action will be relayed tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Daylight Time, GT4 straight into the Porsches, and then of course we will move into the hybrid setup for the final 2 weeks. So hopefully that will be a case of bringing you all the action from the Porsches live, particularly with the championships hotting up, but the season finale just around the corner, and then going back and revisiting GT4. The reason why, if you're just wondering, we had to do it a couple of weeks ago. I was away on assignment for week 2, so we had to double up and do a week 2, week 3 replay, and we did it back to back as one big broadcast. This week, far easier with Adam Lavis's work schedule, and far easier for me as well for us to, because I couldn't do the replay last week because I was in transit to Canberra. Far easier to do the Thursday replay over 2 days. So week 7 today, week 8 tomorrow, and then hopefully back live on Thursday nights from next week. I'll get back to you in a moment, Mr. Baldwin. I've just seen your comment cheekily so on Facebook just before we got going here. That's the circuit. You know it, you love it. 14 turns. Greg Heaney knows it back to front now, having done about 1,000 laps around here since it dropped in the server just before Christmas. John Akers, 240, leads Jason Wilkinson, 224, and Matt Schmicke, 221. My former Thursday Night Motorsport colleague. Richard King, 203, Greg Heaney, 182. 58 points covers the top 5 in this points race, and then another 5 back to Bowden friend Tim Nicol, and Eduardo Zamora tied for 7th. Adam Lavis only 4 points away, and then of course 2 points back to Todd Suter. So look at that, really interesting reading that, because 5th and 10th are covered by just 22 points. That all changes tonight, of course. The drop rounds come into the system, etc., etc. But it makes for very good reading at the moment to see how tightly bunched everybody is. Race 1 results and whatnot for you before we get going here, folks. If we can, please, Adam Lavis. There's the sprint race results for you. Jack Alesi getting the job done from Luke Alavoine. Have a look at that. Oh, sorry, qualifying results, I should say. 0.071 the margin. Then back to Luke Brooker, James Parker, Richard King, John Akers in 6th spot. Then Matt Schmicke, Tom Pritchard, then Bobby Camo and Adam Lavis, the top 10. There are 24 competitors taken to the grid for race 2, and we'll bring that to you very shortly. In the meanwhile, let's cover off the results from Heat 1 and remind you that Jack Alesi got the job done, 2.646 seconds over Luke Alavoine. Richard King in for 3rd. Luke Brooker, Matt Schmicke, John Akers, James Parker, Bobby Camo, Adam Lavis and Tom Pritchard, the top 10. Only 19 points covers the top 3 in this points race right now. You cannot afford to slip up with only, as we say, 7 races to go. That number will become 6, of course, with the first sprint race behind us and moving into the feature. Then, of course, it becomes 5 to go for tonight, next week, and then the final 3 in the super sprint format from the island, the gateway to hypothermia in week 10. And, of course, invert top 8 and invert top 12 features there for the final round. March 4, 2026, 5 o'clock local server time. That's Australian Central Daylight Time. And again, going to come back to that. 20 km/h winds in a mostly direction, how appropriate, because we're in South Australia. 26 degrees the ambient, 41% humidity, clear conditions, 33 on track and dry, as you can see. Adam Lavis on the front row alongside Tom Pritchard. Pritchard will start from pole, Lavis from 2, Bobby Camo and James Parker from row 2. From 3, it's John Akers and Matt Schmicke. From 4, Luke Brooker and Richard King. From 5, Luke Alavoine and Jack Alesi. Cooper Friend alongside Greg Heaney on row 6. On row 7 is Paul Wood and Sean Benici on row 8. Todd Suter and Eduardo Zamora on row 9. Mark Heppel and Paul Wilson. Heppel in the wrong split by his own discretion. He's put his hand up and owned that one. That's his own fault. He'll wear the reward or the invoice as a result of that. Dale Atkins and Siobhan McKernan make up the top 10 rows on the grid. Jason Wilkinson, Jake Cowman, Logan Griffin, Colin Bennett make up the field. No other party, no Harris, no Deggett. Ready to fire. Welcome back to the streets of Adelaide. Race 10 of the campaign, GSRC Porsche Cup. Race 2 of the night, 4th sprint round of the campaign. Just the one to go. It's the super sprint at the Island. Very Australian flavoured sort of back end of the season here. There's no doubt about that. With 2 rounds in the space of 4 weeks. And we've had some good Australian tracks feature on the calendar so far this term. Obviously, we've been to the Bend, we've been to Mount Panorama, now to Adelaide, Phillip Island still to come. They're off, they're racing. Great start on the outside from Adam Lavis. Gets the whole shot on the run towards turn 1. Does not make that. Slippery through turn 1. Cold tyres, everybody checks up. The run down to 2. How long can he hold the lead for here, folks? Let's watch and see. Down the inside. John Akers in 6th spot. Hoping to move forward early. Bobby Camo's made a good start. Everybody's safely away, which is surprising to see. We are on the streets of Adelaide, of course. 5 o'clock local server time, which is Central Daylight Time. Joe Walton just taking me in a comment because the sensible question has started to be asked this week, ladies and gentlemen, regarding daylight saving. Should Australia observe it or abolish it? And that's the conversation that we should have been having for years. It should be a blanket approach, either all or none. And if they go about abolishing it down the inside, watch Matt Schmidtke under pressure here. Schmidtke under pressure. He's got Cooper Friend there for Northwind. He's got Jack Alesi for Yokozuki. And he's got John Akers just ahead of him. He's getting swamped from all angles at the moment as Matt Schmidtke. If it's a blanket approach, it needs to be that South Australia, New South Wales, Victoria, the ACT and Tassie all agree to either keep it or abolish it. And if they do abolish it, then obviously Queensland's no longer left 112 years behind every summer. But if they continue to press on with it, and I like the concept, I like the late nights. I'm a night person by nature, purely through work schedule at the moment. If they do that, then Queensland needs to have the discussion about coming into the 21st century. Wide. Luke Allavoyne's missed the turn. Luke Allavoyne has missed the turn. That's not a very good result for Luke Allavoyne. Oh dear. Drops all the way down to 24th position. Won the sprint race last week at the Hockenheim Ring. Of course, then finished 8th in the feature. No repeat of that heroics this afternoon. It's a long way back from 24th. But yeah, no, you're about the third person to bring that to my attention this week, Joe. Thank you. And yeah, I agree. All in or all out. None of this, half, state by state thing, because then it just becomes a messier situation again. Across the line we go. Jack Alesi for Yokozuki in 7th. He's the one in focus at the moment. Matt Schmidtke just ahead of him. John Akers there as well. Lavis, Pritchard, Camo and Parker, then Akers the top 5. Ooh. Okay. I'm not even going to buy into that one. Not even going to buy into that. Paul Wilson sitting there in position number 17 at the moment. Eduardo Zamora in 18th. And Siobhan McKernan, Logan Griffin. And Dale Atkins, then Jake Cowman. just for the benefit of everybody tuning in at home. Trouble at turn 11. Into the turn 10 on the right for turn 11. Colin Bennett. And it became a parking lot. No one had anywhere to go. Bennett limping away from the scene of the crime and probably onto the tow rope. Oh dear. Bennett done. Bennett done. First carnage of the night. Heppel went into pit lane at the end of lap 2. Cowman goes in at the start of lap 2. Cowman goes in at the end of lap 3. And Bennett's night is done. Alaboyne recovering back into 22nd position now, but he's still got a long lot of road and ground to make up. Jack Allisey, fastest of the race, 1 minute 19.505. Carlin there in 23rd position now on pit road. Alaboyne still has to stop, so it'll be relative to Heppel and Cowman when he comes back out of the racetrack. Cowman stopping at the end of lap 2, that has me worried. Sorry, Heppel stopping at the end of lap 2 there has me worried, Adam Lavis, to be honest, because I'm not sure he'll be able to make it all the way through to 19, but it is only a 27-minute feature. Maybe there's some leverage. Maybe there'll be a lot of fuel saving required as well. 17's a long stretch around here. Over 27 minutes. Adam Lavis, Tom Pritchard, Bobby Camo, James Parker, John Akers, Matt Schmidtke, Jack Allisey, Cooper Friend, and Richard King and Luke Brooker make up the top 10. I'm just going to say this on the record for public acknowledgement and public knowledge whilst everybody's tuned in. There was a comment there a few minutes ago that I refused to engage with, and I'll have everybody know, and Adam can verify this, and Greg Keane can verify this. I logged off straight after the broadcast last night. I'm aware of the Discord chatter, but I've had no involvement in it whatsoever. Oh, trouble. There was a spinner at the back. I'm not sure who it was, though. I did miss that.
Oh, they're all
in. Great. The wall again.
The collection of errors has begun.
It has. There'll be a bit of debris to be cleaned up at the end of the race. No safety cars so far. And that's the other thing, like when we go sprint racing, the risk of an increased presence of the safety car, that's there, absolutely. We haven't seen it yet. 14:41. Oh, cool, that's all right. I was wondering why I was getting a message thread come through partway through the broadcast. It's from our colleagues over at the ASRG as they get ready for round 1 of the Tech G Pro Invitational Series. Next week, plenty of great sim racing ahead. Eduardo Zamora to pit lane. Mark Hetzel, Jason Wilkinson have both been in. Jake Cowman, Colin Bennett parked up. We're down for 22. Sliding through was Matt Schmidtke on the ripple strip. They've obviously, as you see James Parker, slow down there, folks. They've obviously tightened that run up on the exit of turn 7 to go up towards turn 8. They've tightened that up in recent years, and now you're flirting with the limits of adhesion there. You take that ripple strip, and if it spits you the other way, you're biting concrete, aren't you? Schmidtke sliding across it and keeping the boot into it and going on towards turn 8. Alaboyne there, 118.93, and he's going on beautifully right now. Lavis, Pritchard, Camo, Akers, Allisey, Parker, Friend, King, Brooker, Wood and Heaney the top 12. Ricci, Suter, Wilson, Ben Atkins, McKernan, Griffin, Alaboyne and Heppel the top 20. 5 points to the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Thursday afternoon motorsport. Great to have you along. It's 12th day of March 2026. Or 1914 if you're an hour behind like I am up here in Queensland. Down the back straight. Doing a nice job of controlling this race, Matt.
Doing my best. So I haven't really gelled with this track yet, so I'm just trying to take advantage of the fact that it's hard to pass and keep out in front as best I can.
That's it. Like it. What I also like is I've just had a look through my direct messages there. There's no message requests sitting there, which is I like a quiet afternoon. Into pit lane comes Bobby Camo. He's decided to get out of the traffic. And it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You can either get out of the traffic and it works for you, that plan, or you end up in more of it. Luke Alaboyne, fastest lap of the race on that note, 1 minute 18.930. He is on the comeback trail after running into trouble earlier. It's a tough track, but rewarding if you get it right. Absolutely it is. Hello to the Riot Squad. Good on you guys. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. 3:44 Eastern Daylight Time. Lunchtime on the West Coast and tea time in New Zealand. Alesi, 4th place right now. Up 6 spots. Lavis up 1. Akers up 2. King up 2. Through we go. Turn 8. Side by side. Todd Suter's been passed by Greg Heaney. And Suter, actually no, sorry, Suter's got by Sean Benici, I should say. Had the right team, just the wrong driver at Whiskey Business Racing. Alesi gets by Akers. No, comes into pit lane. He went by Akers, but that was because he took the short shoot to turn 14 and hit the control line. He's on pit road. So too Sean Benici now. Bobby Camo 14th from the comeback trail. Remember, Bobby has already stopped. So too has Matt Schmidtke, separated by a coat of varnish at the moment. Dale Atkins did stop.
A lot of these guys trying to go for the undercut, try and make some moves up the field, given how hard it was to pass in that train
Exactly.
behind me. Doing my best, Alonso.
Yes, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that, Adam. And this is the thing, right? We've seen your hard work pay off in the past. I mean, we know what you do from a broadcast and production and direction standpoint, and we admire that. But then you're a very crafty, strategic racer in your own right. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, of course. But you've got to do what you've got to do. And we know you're a good fuel saver. And even though, as you say, you're not up to spec yet, here's John Akers hassling Tom Pritchard at the moment. That's helping you actually disappear. 1.4 seconds to the good now. Here comes Akers. He goes to pit lane, so too does Pritchard. They've had enough of you, Adam. They're gone.
Well, the problem is they've gone with themselves. They were the ones causing their own issues.
Yeah.
Oh, I think one of them gets a speeding penalty here.
Copy.
Possibly.
And here's the other thing as well.
Oh, and now these guys are on each other.
Yep. So this is all just falling into your lap beautifully. That's the point, mate. You said by your own admission you're not fully up to speed with the circuit yet, but at least you're, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, running the numbers, and doing so to a point where you're not necessarily holding them up. They're just not able to find a way by you. So everything's falling into place.
I was wrong. They got away with it. No speeding penalties.
Copy. Siobhan McKernan now in the 20th position in pit lane. So lap 9, a critical number for some.
Heaney and Woodsy having a go at each other.
Why not? Why not? Heaney passes Wood. Through turn 8. Again, very rewarding if you get it right, and very cruel if you get it wrong. Like all good street races, we love it. Right? Lavis, Parker, King, and Brooker was up for Adam to pit lane now. The end of lap 10. So essentially, from your standpoint, that's just to cover off the other two.
Yes, they figured try and they gave me a bit of a gap. I thought, well, there's no one. If there's anyone around, let's be there to try and cover this off. And at least then, if I stay in front of those guys, as long as no one overcuts me, I was right. So that was my idea there, to try and get back in front of this group and maintain that position.
Down the main straight we go. Adam Lavis back out in 7th position now. Best of the bunch, leads by 3.2. And again, that comes back to that fuel savability he has. You were 1.4 seconds quicker than Pritchard on the lane. Akers trying to get down to his inside. Reed is just, hang on. I thought that's what it was. I'm just got to take enough look at Tom Pritchard's livery. He's running the Nesquik livery, hopefully. Northwind down the inside. Sorry, no. At Mizuki down the inside. Couldn't get through. So that's Alice looking at Akers in the Yokozuki entry. Parker, King, Brooker, Wood, Heaney, then Wilson, then Lavis, then Pritchard, then Akers and Allison. James Parker to pit lane. Richard King will take over the corrected order race lead for the meanwhile. Luke Brooker in behind him. Paul Wood comes to pit lane this time through as well. It's great to have so many people tuning in. Great to have you all on a Thursday afternoon. Do the same tomorrow afternoon, please. Come back and join us. Round 8 action from both the Disruptive GT4 series and also the Porsche Cup coming your way. And we look forward to it immensely. Finally, some friendly discussion comments going through our YouTube comment thread. Excellent. Whoa! Give it, Jack Allisey. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, so there was with the Pogo thing. If you got the turn 1 curve, by the time the spring compressed, you hit the turn 2 curve. It just gave yourself a wheelie, as we saw there with Jack. And then once your front wheel's in the air, you're basically just hoping you're not going towards the fence.
What a save. How good. So, King, Brooker, Heaney, then Lavis, then Parker, then Pritchard, then Allison. although, Jono, you say that, but you're in the server and not on the track, mate. What's going on? What happened last Thursday night? Down the inside goes Mark Heppel back to 14th, but again, wrong server for him. King, Brooker, Heaney yet to stop, so too Luke Alavoine, and that will be to his detriment later, unfortunately. Hello, Jake Slade tuning in. He's been cooped up with a stomach bug, poor old Jake. And that's why we didn't see him on the grid last night. I woke up to a very entertaining message from him this morning, because he obviously enjoyed the broadcast from bed last night. Cooper friend, 12th at the moment. Paul Rogers forced me on. Oh, no. Okay. We're pinning the blame on Paul. Okay, fair enough. Thank you, John. Lap 13 to 19. Still Adam Lavis, the corrected race leader, but James Parker has closed to within 0.1 of a second. And Akers has just got by Allisey as well. Parker on the outside, Lavis on the inside. Lavis defending to turn 9. Parking his car just in the right positions to make life exceptionally difficult for Parker at this point. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, Parker's going to struggle to find a way through. Very funny. Actually, to be fair, Jake, I had 3 messages this morning. One showing me some of the Discord chatter that I referenced earlier. Yours, obviously, talking about the same banter, if that's what you can call it. Others will call it baiting. Still commonalities in the sense that BA and T are all mentioned in there, in the wording. And Josh Zuno was also messaging me. There is some breaking news coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen, that I can share on the back of that conversation with Zuno as well. So stick around. Some more information to come at the end of this race. And it has to do with the first week of the 2-week break that we've got coming up as well. So a lot to look forward to. I hope you'll enjoy it. Platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Richard King, Luke Brooker, Greg Heaney, Adam Lavis, and James Parker, the top 5. Tom Pritchard, John Akers, Jack Allisey, Bobby Camo, and Paul Wood, the top 10. Actually, Slady, unfortunately, we never got a chance to catch up and go and have a cold one when I was passing through the Central Coast last time I'm down that way in Cessnock, basically. We've got a part of the fortnight just after Easter, mate. So if we get the chance to go and have a goldie, we'll make it happen. King, Brooker, Heaney, Lavis, Parker and Pritchard, and I'm only relaying that on air, not to start any conversations per se, but just because I know I'll forget to mention it in the message thread otherwise. Short-term memory problems, folks. Long-term's all right. Maths is, sub-star. Yes, here comes Greg Heaney back out onto the racetrack. Paul Rogers is back out, which means John O'Harris is back out tonight as well. Down the inside, Paul Wood under pressure here from the Northwind Motorsport entry. Side by side, gone! He's being turned around! Can you believe that? Cooper Friend into the side of Paul Wood. And now Woodings are sitting dark. Oh. Got out of the way beautifully. Sacrificed his own rear end suspension to do it. Now Lavis under pressure from James Parker here. This is for the effective race lead for Richard King and Luke Brooker yet to come to pit lane. 4 laps to go this time by the line. They're going to gift iRacing some time back, I think, but that's okay.
So the annoying thing here, I knew from race 1's results, Parker had the speed, and it was annoying that he was that far behind me because I needed to save about a litre of fuel. And the only thing that was going to save grace is with him close behind me, he kept being a little bit too cautious through turn 8, which gave me enough run to sort of defend everywhere else. So, and then whenever he made a mistake, it was back to full fuel save while he caught up again.
So it's just a bit of cat and mouse, is it?
At the moment it is, yeah.
Very good. I like it. And that's the thing. He's not aware of what you're aware of, the secrets you're giving away now. And no doubt getting a little bit frustrated. Keep a cool head. The opportunity will present itself. As Riot Squad 87 just goes to proverbial very shortly.
So I'm surprised Ryan Jones didn't pull James aside after last week and like some sort of a community support group for being stuck by me for a race.
Luke Brooker and Richard King. Luke Brooker comes to pit lane, so does Richard King. So they're in at the end of lap 16. Field cleansed, we're on the way home. King, Brooker, Lavis, Parker and Pritchard. Then Akers, Allity, Commode, Friend and Schmidt to the top 10. And round onto the main straight. King and Brooker back out into the fold, but no, come out behind Lavis, Parker, Pritchard, Akers, Allison, Commode. And Schmidtke and Heppel are going to latch on and go with them as well, I think you'll find. Into the back of shot they come. Oh! Whoa! Into the side of one another they go. John Akers and Tom Pritchard. There was a definite run of panels there. Akers still looking down the inside, but now he's vulnerable to Allison. Allison now dives down the inside. That's ambitious at 7. Almost got into the side of Akers. It's on in earnest here. Closing stages, what a race it's been, what a fight it's been. Adam Lavis leads it at the moment. Here comes Parker to the outside. Lavis stripping fuel save mode. He knew the numbers he had to run, nobody else did. Ask Chapman, ask Yeaman, it's hard to do a fuel save when you're at the front, when you've got no support, when you've got no one there ready to tow you along. But he's making it work, he's got 2 to go. And Adam Lavis will be in a very unique sort of position. I think he'll be the first broadcaster in GSRC history. He hasn't already done it so sort of long the last 6 years.
I think we did it once the other week.
Yeah, good point. So not for the first time you'll have an opportunity.
That's saying if it happens, though. Hasn't happened yet.
Well, that's right. If it happens, you've got 2 laps to go, 1.5 to go. Oh, look at this. Pritchard down the inside. Akers still there. So too Allison. The battle for third is on. Akers defends on Allison. And if he does it, yes, what an enviable position. Allison gets into the side of Akers. That's done. That is done. Akers drops a bunch of spots, loses out to Kamal and Booker. Akers now vulnerable because Schmidtke and Friend and Pendle are all there working over the back of him. Pritchard has got breathing space. Alice's got Bobby Camo hounding him down. Parker's within half a second of Lavis still. So if Lavis can get through and get the job done, yes, gets to broadcast himself having a race win. Very, very nice. No other broadcaster's done that on the platform of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Because usually we're live. It wouldn't be possible to do it. So Lavis will see the white flag this time by the line. Parker is there second. Pritchard, Alice, Camo, Brooker and Schmidtke. White flag flies in Adelaide. Let's go. 3.2 kilometres separate us and the checkered flag. Round 7 of the Porsche Cup of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Great to have you covered here across Facebook and YouTube this afternoon. Lavis defends to turn 4. Parker to the outside. Parker knows that he's got the speed. So does Lavis. Parker to the inside. No, not yet. Lavis still holding on. Did you scrape the wall there? On the exit of 5.
Gotta find some speed somewhere.
Putting everything on the line. Back straight. Final time. Parker's there. He's within striking distance. Will it be a full send at 9? Through 8 for the final time. Half a lap to go. Todd Suter's just lost a couple of spots further back. We'll have a look at some highlights later on. To the outside goes Parker. Around the outside goes Parker. No, says Parker. Lavis has got breathing space now. John Akers continues to go top it up. He might be out of juice. John Akers has dropped outside the top 10. Oh, the Aussie Racers stable do it again. Nav on top on the streets of Adelaide. How about that? Across the line we go. Adam Victor in the feature race of round 7 in the open split of the GSRC Porsche Cup. The Green Machine back in business. Not doing as much racing as he'd like to at the moment because obviously he's right up here. And Mark Heppel, we knew he was going to be in trouble getting to the line.
So am I.
And
Adam
can't celebrate his victory because he's out of juice. Oh dear, how about that? Nice win, mate, well done. Lead from the front, can't ask for much more than that. Start ended up being so critical.
Yeah, it was all about trying to keep it clean over there. You know, these guys doing donuts up here.
At least they can.
There we go.
The people are taking too much fuel.
But yeah, so it seemed like it was a bit tricky with the fuel there. It's the Porsche is one of those cars that sort of gives you a little bit of a false sense of security on the first stint, and then you realise, I've come myself a bit short in the second stint, so you just got to save a bit. But you can get there in the end, and James definitely put me under a bit of pressure, but I managed to hold him off with the way this track is, and put the car in the right spots to try and keep position, and it paid off.
We'll have a look at what that means for the points, obviously, in just a minute, mate. I'm just opening that tab now, but. Very, very nicely done. You haven't been doing a lot of racing of late, as I say. You've been so tied up here covering for Yeaman, covering for incumbent as far as Thursday nights are concerned. Must be nice to go out there and make it count when you do get a chance to turn wheels in anger.
Yeah, no, I was definitely surprised. I wasn't expecting a win in the Porsche Cup, given so far this season I've been a bit behind the 8 ball and everyone else. So it was a pleasant surprise. But not always nice to pick up a little W here and there.
And the round win as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's have a look. Adam Lavis, James Parker, Tom Pritchard, the top 3. Alice came home in 4th. There might be some penalties handed out after the fact, so we'll get back to that in just a few moments. Luke Brooker, Matt Schmidtke, Cooper Friend, and Greg Heaney, Sean Benici, the top 10. Then Wilkinson Akers, that was a disappointing run. It just went downhill from the moment he got turned around. Then we go back to Paul Wood, Paul Wilson, then Luke Alavoine. That was obviously a race that was compromised from the outset on the opening lap there. As soon as he made that mistake, he was going to struggle to salvage a result. Todd Suter also in trouble early. Siobhan McKernan, we didn't really touch base with. Eduardo Zamora, Logan Griffin. Sorry, Dale Atkins and Logan Griffin, the top 20. Now, beyond that, I didn't get a chance to cover this off. Mark Heppel ran out of juice on the way to the line. Richard King didn't make the checkered flag. He finished a lap down.
I think he got into an incident on like the second last lap. We'll find out when we're on the highlights. But I think he had something going.
Sorry, he did make the checkered flag, but he did finish a lap down because he pitted on lap 17 and was there for 56.5 seconds. So whether that was a fast repair or gone wrong, or whether it was the frustration as he's coming to pit lane, he's got to stop and hold, I don't know.
Yeah, it was. If we go back to watching that start of the start lap, he was the car at the exit of the pit lane letting us go by. He didn't want to come out in front of us as we're coming on the last lap.
Copy. All right, very nicely done. Now, what that means for the results as far as the championship's concerned, let's have a look at that. There it is. So, round honours to Lavis, second for the round to Luke Brooker, if you believe that, fourth and fifth, and first and ninth. So, Jack Allisey did get an invoice in the end there. He finishes down in ninth, but that's third for the round. The invoice was a 15-second one at that, ladies and gentlemen. So, that's why all the results look just a little bit different at the end of the day. And speaking of penalties, 15 seconds also went the way of Cooper Friends. So there were 2 or 3 amendments to the results after the fact. Jason Wilkinson leads this championship by 5 points over Matt Schmidtke, and John Akers is only another 2 back, and Richard King is on 217. Top 4 covered by 20, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, batten down the hatches, buckle up the seatbelts. This is going to be a good run home. Then 191 for Broden Friend, 3 points clear of Bobby Camo, and only 7 then back to Todd Suter, who has 1 on Sean Benici and 1 on Adam Lavis. So again, that next battle pack, 12 points covers 5th through 9th. That is insane. It's a tie for 10th, Luke Brooker and Paul Wood. And in the end, Greg Heaney's only 7 points out of the top 10 with Tim Nicol. Nicol wasn't even on the grid tonight. But top 12 in this championship covered by 71. And if you take the 7 out of that, what does that become? 64 points covers the top 10. That is ridiculous. But it bodes well for the final 5 races, Adam.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting run home for the split. Because it's been one of those things that, as people are learning this new car, some different people get the good results in different weeks. So it's been one of those, as you can see by the average finish there, where the best one in the top thing is 8 point something, or 7.6 for Akers. So everyone's sort of been up and down like a yo-yo, trying to find the best way to get this car around the track, a bit like the suspension.
Yep, it's absolutely madness. It's absolute madness. 7.6 for John Akers, who had a shocker in that second race, of course. Ended up 11th after the countback with the points penalties that were handed out. But nonetheless, a great result for my mate here, Adam Lavis, and for the Aussie Racers stable. Let's have a look at the highlights of what was a chaotic 27 minutes. We'll do this first? Okay, cool. Good. We just make it up as we go along, ladies and gentlemen. Sets order or structure here. There are the results from the pro split. That'll come as no surprise to anybody. The dominant force there at the moment has been Andrew Dyson. He took a pole position with the 117.849. He was only 0.035 clear of Jeff Adams. Alan Dawson, Willie Blair and Hayden Smith made up the top 5. Ryan Jones was 6th, and Alex Barrell on Andrew Smith, Brooke Braden and Nick Wood made up the top 10. A very trans-Tasman field of that top 10, thanks to the presence of Nick Wood.
Dyson's doing
778 covered the top 10.
Dyson's doing 17s, and we're trundling around and doing 19s and 20s.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? That's how hooked up on rails Andrew Dyson is at the moment. I hope he's thrown his hat into the ring for the Porsche Pro Invitational just quietly. Let's have a look at what that meant for Heat 1. Andrew Dyson over Hayden Smith. So the more things change there, the more they stay the same. They have been the form front runners in this campaign so far. Ryan Jones, a good recovery from 6th on the grid to get through to 3rd. Alan Dawson to 4th. Alex Barrell on Rodney Gollan, Nick Wood. A little bit of carnage here, no doubt. Willie Blair. Jeff Adams was a lap down and Andrew Smith was 4 laps down. Was there only 10 in the field? Can we just have a look at that? No, there was more, but there was carnage. So Brooklyn Breton only made 2 laps. And then, yeah, righto. Jeez. I would have thought Adelaide would have attracted a lot more interest than that. I'm very disappointed. Maybe it's the Grand Prix. I don't know. But yeah, comfortable win there for Andrew Dyson, and he backed it up in the feature, getting the better of Jeff Adams, Alex Barrell, and Ryan Jones in for 4th. So Jones, a double top 5 finish. Hayden Smith couldn't back up the second in race 1. He got a 5th in race 2. Rodney Gollan, Willie Blair, Nick Wood, Andrew Smith and Alan Dawson. Really top 10. But again, Dawson may as well have not even started. He completed one. So only 9 finishes in all. Jeez. Very low attendance night out for the Porsche Cup on the platforms of the GSRC. But the racing's been terrific nonetheless. Andrew Dyson holds sway there. The double last week, the clean sweep. And extends the lead now. That's 49 points on the hop from Hayden Smith. Then Ryan Jones, 239. And look at how far spread out this is compared to what we've seen in the other splits already. I mean, top 4, and it's 112 the margin. This is Dyson's championship to lose. Alex Barrelon, Jeff Adams, Willie Blair, Reece Keane, Marcus Watson, who hasn't been on the grid the last couple of weeks, and I don't think will be. Rodney Gollan and Alan Dawson, the top 10. Corey Lazarus, I'm looking forward to seeing him come back at some point, but not right now. Sitting there in 11th. Righto. Fire it up, Adam. Let's have a look at some highlights for the audience at home and remind them what's been going on here. This was lap 1. Bit of garbage over at turn 7. Bang. Bit of a bottleneck. Dale Atkins compromised by all of that. Then on the run up to turn 4 was Luke Allavoy. Too deep. This was a costly moment for him. He didn't have the best of starts, couldn't push his way forward to the invert top 10. He was 10th on the grid and hadn't gained a spot. And then lost a hell of a lot more on the back of that. Eduardo Zamora got turned around, and then obviously the usual Adelaide car park situation played out straight on the back of that. Further back to Colin Bennett. This was his moment that also produced a similar bottleneck, and he did that all on his own, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, and then got clouted on the way through, and there was no way for the guys that took the outside to go. Two of them got checked up. This is from Eduardo Zamora's standpoint, and watch this, watch the air. Bang. Oh, just right straight in. Bennett goes airborne. Zamora presses on as though nothing's ever happened. And then Jake Cowman obviously over at turn 11 as well. Oh. Last on scene with that garbage that was playing out. But that really all started, when you think about it, with the first car on scene taking a little bit too much curb going into the braking area. That's what unsettled the car. That's what's flicked him round. So Cowman onto pit road.
Oh.
And it was a very lonely night from there. Righto, so there was an incident further back that we want to have a look at. That was Dale Atkins going wide. But Matt Schmidtke, I think, floated the wall on the way through as well, if you go back and have a look. Watch Matt Schmidtke here, folks. Watch this. Lucky to get away with it. He did get through to the finish in the end, remember? Caught both. Oh, wow. And would have had to have come to the pit lane for a faster pair. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, he's managed to lift that. Yeah.
Wall again.
He's managed to lift that back to the lane to minimise his spots loss there.
So that explains why he lost ground in the first place. We didn't see that incident. But Matt Schmidtke, wowee. That's a wild ride.
It's the only...
The left side of the car got more than one lap.
So it's the problem with the turn 8 situation. It's similar to ovals. Because it's a wall strike, it doesn't actually trigger an event until someone either comes to a stop, because there's no actual off-track there.
Correct. Massive weekend of sport coming up as well, ladies and gentlemen. We'll cover that off in more detail in just a moment. Before we're back with you tomorrow, Richard King.
No. He's done a cool time.
And as a result of that, that's what would have triggered the extra invoice time, wouldn't it, on pit lane?
I don't know if he got a penalty or not. I wasn't sure. I think he got something else. I think. I'll double check the results. I'll double check the results when you're doing your post race stuff here.
Yep. Okay. Let's copy that. Logan Griffin. Bang. That's a hard hit too. There was no way back from that. Front end gone. Richard King's on the pit road at this point. If we have a look at John Akers in fourth, getting turned around by Jack Alaki, and didn't ask for permission, just set him into a pirouette first. Wowee. down the inside, and there's Todd Tudor. Bang! Off we go. Greg Heaney down at turn 9. Oh, Greg's been turned around as well. Greg's been turned around. And that's it as far as the highlights are concerned. We'll have a look at what's coming your way in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to point your attention to all the big sport that's happening this weekend. So Women's Australian Open Golf is underway right now. You can watch that on 9 Go. I don't have its TV on next to me at the moment, but I'll have a look at the leaderboard if I get a chance before we get out of here. Live Golf Singapore is on as well, running concurrently. So men's golf on 7+. Women's Australian Open is live on 9 Go, and that's also happening in South Australia. You've got plenty of Super Rugby this weekend, starting tomorrow. You've got the Broncos against the Eels tonight in Thursday night NRL, Carlton and Richmond in Thursday night AFL. Across the course of the weekend, sprint qualifying from China tomorrow night, the sprint and qualifying for the Grand Prix on Saturday. The race is Sunday, 4:30 Eastern. With lights out at 6 o'clock. The Women's Asian Football Cup quarterfinal stage gets underway. First quarterfinal tomorrow night, Australia against North Korea. The second and third quarterfinals on Saturday. The fourth quarterfinal on Sunday, and we're looking forward to that immensely. Good luck to the Matildas, of course. The NBL finals continuing this weekend as well, Adam. It's a big weekend.
So it wasn't the cool third moment that's got Richard King. I think maybe he's been. I think it's more. He's been like I think that's the cool thing's fostered him, and then in his efforts to reverse and get down the lane, he has to put his limiter on and actually sped in pit lane because it's one of those. It's like the bend where it's only a 40k an hour speed limit out here. So if you haven't got your speed limiter on, you're guaranteed to speed. Absolutely.
Premier League continues. Suncorp Super Netball gets underway if you're a fan of the netball. The Winter Paralympics continue on Stand with daily highlights on 9. Final day of Six Nations Rugby on Sunday morning as well. And of course on Monday morning, a lot of eyes on Texas and the new Arlington Street Circuit for IndyCar. I don't know the fascination with street racing. It ends up just being the old SH1T show for the IndyCar. Look at Nashville, look at Detroit as an example of that. I mean, how many safety cars can you throw at a race and still call it a motor race? But we'll see how Arlington plays out. And, of course, we're off to Vegas for the NASCAR straight after. The Academy Awards are on Monday as well, the Winter Paralympic closing ceremony as well. So there is a lot of great sport coming up this weekend, and we can't wait to sink our teeth into it. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube tomorrow. Adam Lavis and I are back here to wrap up our marathon week. It will be with our coverage from the 8th round of the Porsches from Miami, and of course before that we'll go with GT4, and that is from the circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. I am seeing the rain icon next to that one, so bring your brolly for that. That is 2:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Hope you can join us. Tomorrow night, off to Monza. This will be live in all markets around Australia, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 5:30 on the West Coast. That will be for a 45-minute sprint round of the GTE Championship with thanks to Disruptive Blood. Joe Baldwin, Lee and Banks with that. They spin the wheel Friday night to determine the car of choice for Saturday night. 32 laps around Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Mountain Men gets underway 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Week 9. I can't believe I'm saying that already. It's ridiculous the pace in which this season has come and gone already so quickly. Week 9, Super Formula Light from the Bend on the West configuration at Shell V Power Motorsport Park. That is 7:45 Eastern in all markets around Australia, and that is the last of the sprint round in Super Formula Light. They too have an early start in Week 10 because we've wound the clock up from 30 to 45 minutes for a feature race around Sebring. We won't be seeing Nick Codiatis on that one. GT3 on Monday night, the final of the sprint rounds for this term. That'll be the Pro, Am and the Am for you, ladies and gentlemen. The Am first, Pro Am second. So Pro Am feature. That is from the Sachsenring in Germany. 2 sprint races, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Remember, 90-minute race for them in Week 10 from Road America, and we're looking forward to that. We'll bring you the Pro Split on that occasion. Tuesday night, our offering there contains the following. Downforce Legends first up. they were off to the Saxon Ring as well. 2 sprint races there, same format as GT3, essentially 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, just slightly less time on the clock. Then we go on to the circuit, the Nevers Magny Cours, off to France. Looking forward to that 60-minute race, the second to last round of the GSRC Retro Formula 1 Championship, the Oz Legends Cup on Wednesday night. Dan Yeaman and I are here with you for that from the Hungaro Ring at 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Then, of course, the Elite and Dev split for the Supercars, no doubt with some sideline comments. That is from 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That is the last of the sprint rounds in the Supercar Series before they head here to the streets of Adelaide for Week 10. And we hope you can join us for that. And then on Thursday night, now this will be live for the main course. The intro will be on a relay soon after. Andrew, Neil and I are here, and we're looking forward to having him part of the broadcast team. That is next Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, for the Porsches from the Nürburgring. 60 minutes the journey there. We are focusing on the Elite split. Then we'll go back and cover off what happened earlier in the evening at Alton Park with the last of the sprint rounds in the GT4 Challenge, with thanks to Disruptive Labs. That is next Thursday night. That is live and free here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club as live commentary for GT4, but of course delayed vision. So looking forward to that. A couple of bits of housekeeping. All the build up to the Chinese Formula 1 Grand Prix is underway right now. You can pull that along on the Formula 1 website. I mentioned earlier a bit of breaking news, and that is that it looks as though we've settled on Tuesday, March 31. Tuesday, March 31, or the latest instalment of the Australian Open World Nationals. The boys have moved around there to avoid Easter, and of course also avoid the clash with the Porsche Pro Invitational Series, which gets underway on the 1st of April. So we'll be here Tuesday, March 31 from about 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to bring you all the action there. On the subject of the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series and everything the great team at the ASRG are doing, good luck to our supercar competitors that are running over there next Wednesday night. We wish you nothing but the best of luck. We will have one eye on that whilst we're covering the supercars from the Hungaro Ring. Dan Yeaman and I will keep our we'll go around the grounds with that. We'll keep our audience up to date with what's going on as you guys are rolling through the motions at Sebring, the traditional starting point of the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series. That will obviously impact our grid numbers. We would expect that, but it'll be good to have a racing running simultaneously. It's a problem we incur maybe 12 times a year. It's not a huge one. We can easily work around that. The Porsche Pro Series commences a couple of weeks later, and we've got a big representation from the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club lining up there. And again, we wish those guys the best of luck. So April 1 for the Porsche Pro, March 31 for the Australian Open World Nationals, and it looks like that might be the last of the GSRC's involvement in that magnificent event, just for the time being, considering that you can lead the duck to water, but you can't force it to drink. But in this particular instance, just trying to get our members who are eligible to sign up for it, who have been competing in Super Formula Light all season, to actually fill out the paperwork to register. And that seems to be a bridge too far at the moment. And as for some of the comments that came in here earlier, no more further comment on that from me. I don't need to engage in any sort of discourse, because that was all done on my behalf by other representatives last night, who stepped in so that I didn't blow a gasket. And thanks to Greg Heaney and also Brooksy for doing that as well. We're all for banter, and we're all for freedom of speech and opinion here on the platform of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But there's a fine line between doing it in a rational and constructive manner, and then just plain bait throwing, which we thought was what was going on last night. And as you heard, if you were here with us last night, it doesn't take much for me to take the bait. We do it with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrc.com, Flash Graphics, and the great people at Waste Options. Final thoughts from you, Adam Lavis. In and out in about 3 hours, not a bad afternoon.
Yeah, I might even be able to get a nap in before the race tonight, so we'll see how we go.
He's been a busy boy. At 3:40 a.m. This morning for Adam Lavis. I didn't envy him in the slightest. We've had fun. We hope you have as well. We look forward to your company again tomorrow afternoon, same time, same place. Probably a slightly later start, 2:30 Eastern Daylight Time for that one. We look forward to having you with us then as Week 8 action continues on a day where Adam Lavis has chalked up a win in the Porsche Cup on a day in which the championship fight has well and truly livened up in the M and Open splits in the Porsche Cup, and GT4 is a race that's still well and truly alive as well. Week 8 action for them tonight. You'll see it tomorrow here across Facebook and YouTube. We look forward to your company. In the meantime, enjoy the footy tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon. I'm Zach Cabin on behalf of Adam Lavis and all the broadcast commentary and production crew here. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye for now.